as a lot of my life is spent with public boards of education, and really appreciate the service and effort that I know you guys put in. Also want to really thank Adam. I know Adam gave us the Say It Ain't So retirement speech, and just want to say how much I've appreciated the chance to work with Adam in this setting. Adam and I, in my past life, worked together, but in this time, I'm really grateful for the opportunity to work with you, Adam, and
thank you
as well. And you guys have a big job to fill his shoes, I'm sure you know.
Indeed.
I wish you all the best in that. Good luck. So tonight, Kate gave me the hook sign, like, wrap this up. I hear you. She used the word efficient, and well done, and a message taken. So we have a presentation, but we also have some slides here. And if we can get that up, it'll be awesome. There's no problem if you don't worry about it at all. There's a couple videos I want to show and just showcase a couple quick things. But tonight I'm here really to, of course, talk about NFA and to open that up. I am very proud of NFA and very proud to be a part of NFA, and you should be too, because you are a part of NFA. And this is about, in the business world, we talk about ROI, return on your investment, why, and why send your children to us, and why invest your funds with us, and why be partners with NFA. And these moments like this are a good chance for us to really try to explain why. And in that, with every success comes opportunities for further growth. Just like all schools, just like your school, NFA is not there haven't been any perfect days, but there's days of lots of success and lots of opportunity to move forward. And I want to talk about that and transparently talk about some things that I hope we can continue to work on with our relationship with Voluntown. And that, greatest thing is that how can we have more Voluntown students experience what I do believe is an exceptional and unparalleled educational opportunity in the secondary level in Connecticut. And I frankly say across the country as well. So that's kind of the goals where I'm going to go. I'm going to use a lot of the data that came out of this report. I know Adam shared this report with you. We sent you this report, I want to say in December, might have been November. This is the performance report that we publish on an annual basis. And it chronicles your specific student data as compared to the school and as compared to the state. It's a long time ago, but I'm sure you don't have it. I'm sure Adam can get it for you, or I'm happy to send you another copy of it. It's really important data, and it's annual data that is important for you to see. But we're going to talk a little bit about some of that report tonight. Also really happy to be interrupted at any point in time. If you have a question, you don't need to write it down or save it or pray to remember it. Just ask it. And I have 7 children, so I'm very hard to, I'm either never on track or always on track, depends who you ask. But please feel free to interrupt. I'm happy to kind of take you through there. I'm going to start off a little bit. If we jump to slide, I think it's the 3rd one. It's the first bar chart here, unless you want to look at our Wildcat. Like, who is at NFA? So at NFA, we're just under 2,100 students. We have just under 260 special ed kids. Of those 2,100 students, there are 37 Voluntown students at our school. So, a really important group of 37 students. Voluntown kids thrive at NFA, and you have some superstars. I don't know if you just send us your best kids, but if you do, keep that up. That's great work. But we have some really remarkable Voluntown kids there. And it was kind of fun. I went through our Instagram and all of our social media posts, which if you don't follow NFA on Instagram, you should. NFA, and they also NFA Athletics. You'll see pictures of your kids all the time because they are athletes, they're scholars, they're musicians, they're thespians, they're dancers. You have some really remarkable basketball players, volleyball players. You have some remarkable kids. Trend line that I think we're looking at and trying to work on here, and I updated this data in this slide here. You can see you have 37 students right now. This slide says 34 at the end. And, I look at that in the heyday in 2017, there were 60 Voluntown kids at NFA. That number has dwindled up to 37. And I think to start off, that's an area of I'd love to talk about. Why is that? What is something we could do? And I think 2 reasons. Of course, I'm here to represent NFA, and I'm here to represent a school that is actively working to increase enrollment, just like every other school around us. And I do get concerned when I hear certain narratives around NFA that true or untrue are things we should talk about. And every family has the right to make a choice what's best for their children, as I want to make for my own children. And I guess in that, I feel like my role is to try to make sure that you're making decisions based on facts, based on reality, and based on experience. And as representatives of the community, I think this is a great opportunity for us to talk about what that is. I am concerned about that trend line for Voluntown, and I'm concerned because I feel as somebody who made a decision, and my wife and I made a decision, we really didn't. Really, my children made the decision. We supported the transition from a very small, tiny high school to NFA. And I would say the difference that's happened for my daughter's a senior right now. She just committed to play soccer at Nichols College, which is north of here. So I'll be driving through Voluntown and get a lot, I guess. I can't tell you how much has changed my daughter's life. It has opened up doors. It's changed her as a human being, her confidence, her sense of self. And I think for us who are educators, we want that for all kids. I'm really happy for my kids, and I believe that's an experience that can be replicable for other kids. So something we can dive into a little bit. Jump into the next slide here. This is kind of the performance slide here. And this is pretty neat when you start thinking about it, where your kids are. The first chart, the first grid we look at are dual enrollment in college courses. So 29 out of 37 of your kids are enrolled in dual credit, Three Rivers Community College, Eastern Connecticut State University, or UConn courses. So that means that they're getting college credit while they're at NFA. And so that means when their transcript moves forward, those credits, and many UConn credits are accepted by all your state schools and other schools as well, private colleges as well. When you think about that's nearly 80% of your kids are taking college level courses at NFA. That's a really big deal. That's a big deal, number one, for the family who's saving money on a college credit as they're getting in high school. It's a bigger deal for a kid because they're in rigorous coursework that's preparing them for the next level. Can't emphasize that enough. The other choices that you're sending kids high school to, they don't have that opportunity. That doesn't exist there at this level. And I think that's a big deal when we're making choices. Hard for a freshman to kind of get their head around that, right? That's not what they necessarily should be thinking about. But as we guide and shape and think about the decision, that's an important thing. I think the second one here, the chart on the right here, these are UConn and AP semester class counts. So this is a little bit of redundancy here. But this is kind of looking at our honors and advanced programming, UConn AP program, again, college credit. And of your 37 kids, they're taking 99 courses. So that means your kid, and not everyone is, because you know only 29 of them are, but most of them are taking 3+ courses. So in other words, you're pulling out 9 credits, essentially, of a college on a college transcript. We're seeing students go to college in their freshman year with sophomore level credits, 15+ credits in the first year. And that's a really big deal for these kids. Graph number 3 to the left here is talking about on track to graduate. 37 out of 37 kids are on track. That means on track to graduate is really simple. You have to have 25 credits by the end of your spring of your senior year. That's spectacular. As a school and on a state comparison, 100% of your kids are going to graduate in 4 years. It means they've done what they need to do. These graduation requirements, you may know, have lifted for us. It used to be 21, now it's 25. I wish it wasn't 25 because it really squeezes out a lot of the things kids want to do. That's a state mandate, but it's still impressive to see that your kids are keeping track with that. And then the third chart here, I think, is the one that blows me away. Voluntown kids on your SAT scores are averaging just under 1,100 points on your average mark. That's the state average is 962. You're almost a 12% raise above state scores. You should be proud of that. SAT performance doesn't just happen in 9 through 12. That's built on a base of what's happened in your elementary and middle school experience. I wish we could fix it in 9th grade through 12th grade. As we all know as educators, it's just not that simple. You're sending us really strong students. And I'm really grateful for that. And to see them thrive like that, that is placing you, 1050 is placing you what's called career and college ready. Those are the benchmarks that the College Board has established across the nation, and your kids are exceeding that mark on an average line. That means scholarship, that means preferential opportunity to college. That means that when these kids are taking the PSAT and throwing up the 10-12, their parents are being flooded with college mail. So this is, I think, what we want to see on the college kind of academic track, and I think important data to look at. So you just jump to the next slide. We're going to go into some other things. So this is a slide we use when your families came. We host multiple recruitment nights. We're really always happy to host Voluntown families. We host them based on themes. But this is a standard slide we talk about. And this slide is pointed directly to kids. And why NFA? And when we're talking to kids why NFA, we honestly could be sitting and using the same slide as we are tonight with your support. Why NFA? Why partner with NFA? Why have NFA be your publicly designated high school? And I would say for me, there's lots of reasons, but if we pick 3 reasons, NFA has this comprehensive academic and career opportunity. We've talked a lot about the academic track. We've talked about the robust opportunities for students who want to go to a four-year school. But something I'm really proud of, I think that is an emerging interest in Voluntown, is our career development. The market, hey, Eric, how are you? They keep you late at work today, or what happened? Don't talk to me about that.
The check's in the mail, right?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Is realizing that in today's world, a four-year college track used to be defined as success in high school, right? As a parent, I did a good job because my child got into X school. But as we hire a plumber to come to our house and we have to remortgage the house to get the toilet fixed, we realize that there might be some other paths to success. The market's telling us that, right? When EB is hiring a mandate of 5,000 employees within the next year, we realize there might be another path, which is just called common sense. And I'm really proud that NFA, a school in 1854, was built around the concept of industry, art, and academics. In education, we kind of just go through cycles. New things are things that we did 10 or 15 years ago, I think is absolutely what a trend for us is right now. So we are really building out what we're calling our Pathways program. We have 4 pathway programs that are really developed. The first one is a manufacturing pathway with direct pipeline to EBs and employment opportunities. EBs, obviously, you're kind of big gorilla of employers in this sector, but then the pipeline manufacturers such as the Collins and Jules, such as the Nelson, are where we're sending kids as well. Last year we graduated 23 kids. 23 kids had signed contracts before they walked across our stage, and they're going $32 an hour plus benefits, plus career opportunities, plus paid first year of college credit. That's not a bad start in life. That at NFA, as far as our career tracks looks like, the kids are coming in, they're taking engineering design courses, they're moving over to our innovation lab and taking CNC, machining, woods, all the manufacturing pieces that brings them together, their OSHA certification and their certifications that makes them employable for that first year at EB. EB headhunters and recruiters are in our schools actively recruiting these kids. And one of the biggest challenges we'll start to have now in the next month, is that EB is like, hey, any chance you can get out of school today and come on down and I'm like, no, there's no chance, I gotta finish this.
Yeah, right.
But I think that's important to know. I hear a lot about, well, my kid's a tech kid. I went to a technical high school, so I can speak with fluidity to this. I don't know if 14 years old is a good time to decide that you want to be X. I think at 14 years old is a good time to understand, I want to learn how to work hard. I want to learn how to be kind to others. I want to know how to treat others with respect. I want to experience a broad world and then start to find my place in it. And that's not a knock on the technical high school. I went to there, and I'm not a carpenter today. I was a carpenter at one time in my life. But I think we have to be really careful of this idea that at 14, you're going to go pick 3 shops, and out of those 3 shops, you're going to end up that, and that's you're going to do their side. That's not true. That isn't actually what's happening, and that's why those retention rates on a kid who is in a tech school versus getting into a trade, there's a different story here. And I'm saying that to you as a Board of Education. I'm also saying to a parent, that's a great choice for a parent to make. But I think what's important for us as a comprehensive school is broaden the doors and open the opportunities. Second pathway for us is our medical pathways. Sarah and I were talking before this. Sarah obviously works in pharmacy. Our medical pathway has 3 feature pipelines. The first one is a CNA program. A CNA program is a full certification for CNA for our kids. They're working in nursing homes around the area. Our goal isn't for our kids to be CNA. CNA is the entry point into the medical field. And what we're finding in our CNA programs is 2 things are happening. One, kids are falling into this hands-on experience working in patient care and saying, hey, this is for me. Now let's talk about how do we expand this, go to college to be an RN, et cetera, or a doctor. Or 2, I start working in the medical side and I realize, hey, body fluids are not my thing. And that's great too, because that doesn't have to be your thing. You're 14 years old. You're 15 years old. You've experienced and now you can go to something else. You aren't pigeonholed into a place. Third pathway for us that we're super excited about, obviously, is our culinary pathway. We run a full culinary pathway, culminates in our Brickview restaurant. It is an amazing student-run restaurant at NFA that is completely from scratch to finish to front of the house to back of the house, run by students. I work very hard not to eat at the Brickview because I'm trying to fit into a bathing suit this summer. Other than that, it's,
Don't put it on the social media site either, because then I'm like, I don't have that in my kitchen right now.
Yeah. Well, listen, today I went down there and I went to get a cup of coffee. They have a cappuccino machine down there, and I went to get that. And I went down there. The kids were all in there like, "Are you eating today?" I'm like, "No." They're like, "Hey, listen, we have buffalo fried popcorn." No, it's white and it's a vegetable and it looks
Cauliflower.
cauliflower. Thank you, cauliflower. And I'm like, oh, I can't say no to that. So that ended up being my meal today. That was dinner. I think it's all right. Really proud of that program. We just sent two teams of students up to Dunkin' Donuts Park. They competed in a chopped cooking demonstration. Think about that experience, hour and 15 minutes, lamb shanks, they cook completely on a propane grill, and no electricity, et cetera. What an experience for a kid to have. Fourth pathway for us is we've developed a Human Development Child Care Associate, so a CDA, Child Development Associate. This has been done through the partnership with the National Head Start program. And this is really taking you to that place of either working in a pre-K or starting to work on a pre-ed type of track. So we're really exploring these things. These are robust, healthy. If you go on our website, I can show you where it is. I say this because many times when we have orientations with families, when we tell them these things, like, we didn't know that. We thought NFA was just a 4-year kind of college-going school. It's absolutely not. It wasn't designed to be that way, and it shouldn't be that way. Next year, we're going to be launching a new pathway in public safety with police and fire in partnership with the Norwich Police Department and Fire Department. Super excited about that and more to come. So that's a big thing there. And then obviously the last piece here is the student life and experience. For all of us who were in high school, I'm sure our only memories of schools was our hard-fought English tests, social studies assignments, etc. Maybe for the rest of us, we remember being with friends that are still our friends for life. We might have remembered being on a sports team. We might have been being in a play. And if you want to find a way to love and engage in a place, you have to find something you're passionate, and that's NFA. And whether it's our sports activities, I hear sometimes the story, well, I don't know if my kids are good enough to play at a double L school, a large school like that. And I'll tell you, your child's definitely good enough to play at NFA. Two things happen. Number one, there's 53 varsity sports, and there's tons of opportunity in terms of that. Number two, all of our sports offer incredible off-season programs, workouts, conditioning, opportunities to get to coaches. If you want to play at a sport at NFA, they're going to find a home for you. And number three, I think that the idea here is, it's pretty amazing. The state basketball finals right now have 4 ECC teams in the finals. They're pretty incredible. Our team got knocked out in the Final Four. Really proud of them. Our girls team went incredibly deep. If it weren't for Lloyd's grandson, we would have the only great shot putter in town. We did set a state record. It's the state record holder. But NFA is a place for kids to go and thrive. And I say, the last thing we say here is, you belong here. When we say that you belong here, I'm talking to you. And I'm talking belonging as you belong to come to us. But also when you come here, you belong. I hear families say, well, I'm afraid in a big school, my child's going to get lost. And I say, well, actually, what's going to happen, your child's going to get found. If you go to a small school, such as some of the schools that are in our area, you have to fit into the profile. You have to fit into the box. Those of you who went to a small school, including me, you know that. It's a certain look, it's a certain type, it's a certain family, it's a certain X. And if you don't fit into that, you don't fit into that. And you know that, and so does everybody else. At NFA, the beauty we have is because of the diversity of our student body, whether it be racial, academic, background, past, there's a box for you, and there's a place for you to fit in. And I'm so proud. I hear places say, we know kids' names. We have 2,100 kids. I don't know 2,100 students' names, but I know a lot of them. And I'm looking at Arca nodding. She knows a lot of them too. And NFA is a place where I would say I've never experienced anything like this. I'm so proud of this. This is a place that just honors kids. And if you haven't checked, social media is not the best way necessarily to know what the heart or character of anything is, because there's a fantasy world of social media. But I think if you look at that, it's just a great photo representation of that. You'll see how kids are lifted up and made a very big deal. And I'm so proud of that. And I'm honestly, as a parent, I'm really appreciative of that. That's a very big deal. And so that's that. Let's jump to the next one here. Career offerings, academic career offerings. I'm not going to do this because it's going to be hard to do, but if you click on this link, and I'm sure you'll get this presentation, when you look at 250 course offerings, if we do it and start scrolling through it, you'll see the first set, because it begins alphabetically, or the arts thing. We'll go for there's probably 35 to 40 art offerings, whether you're taking jewelry making as a full-time semester course, or you're taking Play Shop 1, 2, and 3, digital photography, drawing, painting 1, thespian, acting. The offering of courses are probably larger than most of the small colleges around here. It is a place where the challenge, and for me, the challenge my wife and my kids have had, is trying to rule out, like my daughter really wanted to take jewelry making, but really loves pottery. So she had to make a choice. Am I going to take pottery? My daughter's not going to be an artist, but this is what she's interested in. And she had to make a hard choice. What a cool place to be. What a cool place to be and being like, well, we only have one thing. We'll get you in that next semester. That's not an option. That's a huge thing for kids. We talked about college placements. We'll skip over that. Honors classes in all 4 years, grade 9 through 12. Our students, the other thing I love about this, in most smaller programs, you have to be an honors student in all 4 classes. For NFA, you do not have to be that. You can be an honors, so you're really strong in English, language arts. You're an honors that course, whereas math maybe isn't your thing. You're in a level class. That puts you in different groups. It puts you with different friends. It puts you with different people and gives you different experiences, and that's a big deal. 24 of your 37 students are in honors on their GPA, have been honors or above. So your kids have figured this out, and that's really impressive to see that kind of success academically in school and on their GPA. You know what? Do you mind?
One thing I just wanted to Nate, just if you just small little snippet on History Day, because I found that was a really cool thing. That's a very like holistic, that you can accomplish something like that in such a large school, and learning through that just in 2 years. I'm like, this is kind of crazy that you do it. So it's a good thing to talk about.
That's what History Day was on Saturday. Was Tess in it?
She was, yeah.
Nate was my son. My son's name is Nate. He was in as well, and. History Day is really cool. So History Day has kind of 2 days for us. The first History Day is we do our own internal History Day. And all of our social studies classes offer an opportunity, and really cool because what we're seeing with learners now is that they want to explore topics of their interest. And instead of boxing them into learn this, give them the concept, skills, and strategies and let them explore. So my son's topic was oppression of Native Americans, and he was studying the Trail of Tears, and obviously the story of Western expansion and what happened to Indians as they were put on the tribe. Really appropriate, obviously. What was Tessa's? I shouldn't ask.
The railroad something in Pittsburgh. I have no idea, and I'm like, why did you pick that? That I don't ask. And this is starting from maybe like a SRP that we board members know about in 7th and 8th grade here in Voluntown, where you do a year-long study on something that you care about and is exciting. Then they choose something not exciting. It might.
I don't know, maybe railroads in Pittsburgh are exciting.
So clearly I was not invited, so I couldn't see the glamour and the joy and the.
Really hard to Janis Joplin. I thought that was
I know. I was like, there's things you can really pick that are very exciting. But.
Hey, I don't know. I think you should be careful with that. Railroads have changed our concept. There's innovation.
I wish I could tell. I'm ashamed that I don't know the actual topics, but it's something to do with something.
There's no judgment here.
Yeah.
There's no judgment.
Something to do with railroad strike that it started unions or so. I think it did. I don't know.
There we go.
So, but the point is that it was, again, like this holistic journey for this, they did it in a group and a team. And so you're dealing, you're learning about a subject over a course of time, presenting it to your classrooms, doing a rubric, finding out the different pieces of it. And this is stuff that we do here in Voluntown, and to see that carried out into like a whole school-wide, it's not just like, in 10th grade you do this, and you're doing it in 9th grade, 10th grade, all the way up, and then there's statewide and nationwide things, and people come, it's just really cool. So
it starts at the school, and it's really cool. We host it in the land library, and there's probably, I don't know how many, you can do a kind of a trifold board where you're explaining through pictures and presentation. You can do a paper, or you can do a PowerPoint presentation. There's different phases done. Our faculty and our community and families come to it, so it's very internal. I went to my son's and I was like, I'd love to hear about yours. He goes, you can read the board. So I didn't get that presentation. I got other kids though, they were really good. Then it culminates in what Kate's talking about is we do a History Day for the state. It's one of the regional sites. We have kids from 8th grade, I think 7th and 8th grade come for theirs as well at our site. Kids from all over the state. It's an enormous day. And it's pretty cool to see, and judges obviously come from across the state and judge, and ultimately those students will move towards the regional opportunity as well. So that's a really neat thing. So much is happening there, right? You're exploring history, right? That's awesome. That's amazing. You're learning, many of these things are done with partners and groups. You're learning how to work as a team. You're learning how to talk to adults and make eye contact and present something, which is a really remarkable skill for young people. It is an example of and that's the way learning happens now. Learning is no longer take notes, copy this down, remember this, memorize and bring it back. Our kids are so far beyond that. And obviously the world of technology and AI, what that's brought to it has changed a lot of these things. And we have to evolve the way we teach as well. So that is a really good example. What's that? Oh, yeah, it's perfect. The kind of the other piece of this thing, we talked about broad offerings or our academic and offerings in the arts experiences. I would say if NFA does something particularly well, it is the arts experience. I think a lot of times people think about NFA, think about sports, and I would say you should come visit, it's really arts. And we offer 3 different levels of arts: visual arts, music, and performing arts. Next year, we're relaunching what many of you may have known as the Norwich Art School, which kind of closed in the 1970s, and remarketing that and bringing that back to NFA so students can earn a fine arts diploma. Arts is really seen in 2 ways: the casual artist, which would be me, probably my children, and the committed artist, who this is what I want to do and this is where I'm going. Those are 2 different types of students that still can find value in the same thing. I love music, I don't play it, and I definitely don't sing it, but I definitely listen to it, same kind of idea. The options that kids have, we're talking about this: sculpture, jewelry, metalsmithing, graphic design. On the performing arts side, a huge effort around dance. We have a national recognized dance program. I believe about 80 students are in that program right now. They perform across up and down the Eastern Seaboard. They were just in Florida in the Nationals. A really impressive group of young people. Last weekend, maybe it was last weekend or last week, it gets a little confusing because they have something every night there. But we just had an event called Dancing with Faculty. So it's Dancing with the Stars. ARC, I think, is doing it next year, so definitely go up.
I'm not sure about that.
I saw a list. There was a list. We all got to submit our favorite faculty, and I submitted her name. And you've seen Dancing with the Stars, same idea. The dancers take a faculty member and they work over a month period. And I thought this was going to be kind of like, okay, whatever. They take this extremely seriously. And it is a professional level event. It's an awful lot of fun. I was asked last year to participate. I said no to nothing at NFA. This was a hard no. And the young woman who came in my office came in and goes, Dr. Connell, I'd really like to do this. I think this would be great. It'd be really good for the school. I'm like, I'm really sorry. This is not going to happen. She said, so she said, I said, Anna, I say no to nothing, but this is no. And I'm happy to give any amount of money. I'm happy to participate as a judge. I'll hand out programs. I'll clean up afterwards. She goes, no, you have to do this. I'm not going to leave until you say yes. So you should get a chair because you're going to be here for a chair. And it's campus seats, you have to take her out of my office. No, I'm just kidding. But I have not danced and I won't dance. So Arca's going to take the place.
Neither will I.
Yeah, jump to the next one. Student life and experience, we talked a lot about, some really cool things, state-of-the-art athletic facilities, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, fencing, etc., weight room training. If you're a serious committed athlete, NFA has that for you. And then if you jump to the next one, we're one of two high schools in the country to have a museum. We have the largest museum in the country. There's over 10,000 objects in our collection. You have to go to 40 museums around the globe to get there. If you haven't gone to Slater, please take my word for it and go. It is an unbelievable place, and it's really worth exploring. And I would really say to Amy, if Voluntown kids, elementary kids, ever want to have an experience, our curator, there's also an educator in the museum, will be happy to design a program for kids. It's an amazing place. All of the classic sculptures are in there. If you want to see the god of, her name is Nike, the god of victory. She was the original design that Phil Knight used when they designed the Nike swoosh. She's in there. It is the largest collection of complete casts in the Eastern Seaboard, and several other exhibits as well. The exhibits change on a quarterly basis. And we're really proud of that museum. And what's cool for me is, when museums are, obviously having a museum is amazing, but then to watch your kids interact in a museum. I say, and I don't say this to the kids, but I feel like art and appreciating art is kind of like wine. You have to work at it to learn how to appreciate it. It's a terrible metaphor with high school kids. Don't worry, I don't tell them that. But we have to work on appreciation. You can't just expect kids to do it, right? I'm on my phone, I'm not interested in that at all. But now when we work at this a little bit, you start to realize the beauty, the grace, and the strength of Zeus's altar. So it's a pretty cool place and neat thing to have on campus. Jumping down here, I think this is pretty cool. You should know that young man. That's a pretty special young man right there, and we're really, it's having a soul that he's a Voluntown kid. When you look at the Voluntown kids, out of your 4 classes that are there right now, they are participating in 64 sports clubs or activities. That would mean out of 37, roughly, kids are doing about 2 things. That's a busy year. That's awesome, and that's exactly how it should be. Thankfully, your parents don't mind the drive, coming back and forth. But, you know, I think...
Mind.
Not at all. You live there. I think for people, again, when you hear that narrative in the community, oh, I can't go there because I won't get to do this. That's a little statistic for you. The average Voluntown kid does 2 things, which is, I would say 3 is maybe a little bit much. 2 is a lot, to be honest with you. But that's a good sign of student engagement in what your kids are doing. So last, kind of landing the plane here, and I don't know if I hit the standard on quickness, and it's hard to do this quickly because there's a lot to talk about. NFA, the unique thing about NFA is that we are a privately endowed institution, which means that we have a foundation that sits behind NFA and provides financial backing to many of the things. The NFA Foundation contributes about $1.75 million a year into our operating budget, and that money goes directly towards reducing the tuition increases that are passed on in turn to our town. This year, you're aware, we passed just around a 2% budget, which resulted in a 3.7% increase in your tuition fees for NFA. If we didn't have the foundation, that probably would be somewhere around 11%. So this is a big part of our school and what it is. And that's really important to know, important to understand. The second piece of the foundation is really important, is the foundation is largely a restricted fund. About 30% is unrestricted and the rest of it is restricted. It's restricted for scholarship. And with that scholarship money, we hand out around $750,000 of money to students every year that walk across the stage. The amazing thing is, as long as the market does relatively well, that's based on interest money that will come to your kids. It's pretty cool. You know, 187 kids got over 374 scholarships last year. You know, pretty cool. 6 Voluntown kids. I think you had 8 kids in the class, so 6 out of 8 of those kids received scholarships last year for about $15,000. You're going about $2,500 per student. Obviously, it probably didn't work out exactly like that. One could have gotten $5,000, et cetera. But for me, and I know if any of you have seniors or kids in college, you start realizing that that's a really big deal. And again, I don't think anyone should pick or go to a school because I got a chance to get a scholarship. That's not the reason why you should go anywhere. But when you start thinking about the value add and the value back, that's a very, very big deal for families. So let's skip ahead, and this is one. Oh, you don't have. Man, I lost my punchline here. This is a really cool video I want to share with you, but also you can watch it in your notes. And I think you should watch it because this is the ultimate end of what happens in NFA. It's a really quick video of our graduation. And I wanted to show it to you, and I really want to invite you, if you haven't been to one of our graduations, please come. Because suddenly you realize in moments like that, and I'm pretty energized every single day, but when I watch that kids walk across that stage and get the chance to just realize this is what this is all about. This is why you volunteer as Board of Ed members. This is why you spend hours listening to people like me go on and on and on. Because you care about them, and you care about what it means to our world and our community when they do that. And that's a pretty cool thing in terms of the last one. So really want to thank the Voluntown Board of Ed. Want to put back the challenge that there's something we can do. My fear is I do, and I know this sounds very presumptuous, I don't mean it to, but I do think this is such an amazing choice for a child. And I do want to do everything I can do to help Voluntown parents see that and then make the decisions they should make. And I do think there's some room for us to grow there. And if there's a way that I can be helpful with that, please let me know. Happy to adjust, happy to talk, happy to bring people in, happy to work on things, happy to handle things individually with people. And I'm just very grateful for your strong leadership and appreciate the chance to come here tonight. I do know that you have a busy schedule. Thank you.
Now, just one quick.
Yeah.
Now, do they still keep the freshmen in a separate house,
Yeah.
kind of?
Yeah. So
they're coming from a class of 30, you know, and
yeah, and so we're you know,
Yeah.
one of our towns is not, right? Norwich is coming from 2 larger middle schools. But Voluntown is not the only place coming from a tiny place. And so the strategy here is we have the Cranston House, and all freshmen begin in the Cranston House. We have an incredible principal of the Cranston House named Jay Vakulis. He's an alumni of our school, and he leads that building. And when you come into that building, the first sign you look at says, welcome to the next 4 years. 4 of your core classes or channels are going to be in that building. And very quickly, our freshmen become very, very comfortable. And I always say that, in our orientations, we have an accepted student night coming up in May. Obviously, that's all towards getting people comfortable. It's always interesting to me too when you have a child that's been homeschooled all the way through, and then their first drop is here at NFA, like this. And I would say it takes you a couple days, and then you figure this out. But it is a heavily supported campus. There are 26 campus safety officers around that building, around that school all the time. That's larger than probably most of the police forces in the entire Southeast region. They are all highly trained, highly effective. Gifted at relationships. Many times some of our most popular staff members, with the exception of our psychologists, they're extremely popular with kids.
Thank you for that clarification.
Yeah, they're extremely popular with kids.
You just live in her office.
Yeah.
They live there, yes, they do.
Yeah. She gives them candy.
It's very lovely in there.
Bribery, that's one of the good techniques.
That's a good question up there. Thank you.
I was just gonna, you're saying like how we could, just ideas. I think I did see this somewhere, but we see this with some of our sending schools where they'll do a special day where their chorus comes in or somebody comes in and kind of gives a performance to our students.
I'd love to do that.
I know. I think that just obviously we have the talent. There is the talent at NFA. I'm not saying we, but like I think school, because I'm not part of it, but I mean.
To your point, so I saw this on social media, I follow NFA, and they had gone to Lisbon, and I was very offended.
I know. I was on it. I was like,
and I said,
15 minutes from Lisbon, you should
I
have
said, why is NFA at Lisbon? And they had to come here.
We would love to come.
Yeah, and she said that actually your band director was at her house over the weekend, and she said to her, why didn't you ask me if you could come to Voluntown? So they are coming. Long story short, they are coming.
I knew that was going to happen real quick, but I was like, I got to go straight to the source and be like, anytime you want to bring talent to Voluntown, we would love to have.
We would love to come, and it's great for our kids. We're trying to, and think about this. These are our kids. This is your school. This is not Norwich's school. This is the school of the 9 partner districts. You are a fully vested partner in that. Despite the number of your kids, every single one of these, I would say at recruitment night the other night, we had a parent come up to me, and we handled every single one of those conversations with one individual, because that's the most important thing in their life. I have 21 most important things in your life, but they have one. Well, I have a couple, but they have one there. And we have multiple tutoring, mentoring opportunities that we've shared as far as we'd love to be a part of that. But getting back to what I was going to say, I think about the experience for a high school junior to come back to an elementary school and be that person that someone's looking up to. That's a powerful, profound marking experience for you of like, I got this, and other people are looking up to me. And so as much as it's important, I think, for your kids, and I do think it's important to see kids' success, I actually selfishly think it's more important for us. And I think we get a lot out of that experience. So we are happy to do that. We would love to do that. And also welcome you at our school. I think, walking people around that campus is very telling. It was very telling for me in the process of me going to be a part of the team there. What sold me was walking around the campus with a couple kids. I wasn't sure if this was the right thing for me. And when I walked around that place, my jaw was on the ground all the time. And I said, wow, this is something else. So happy to do that.
Yeah, and I think Mr. Vakulis came at one point and presented. I think that was a cool thing too. So all those things are great.
We'll reach out to Amy, we'll figure something out and get that going. I think we definitely do that.
And we have, and we're always open and we can be flexible because we are all in one building. We have a preschool program. If we had kids that wanted to come and, participate in that, we don't mind that. We can make anything happen here because we are just one.
Yeah.
And we always work with Griswold, and they want to send us kids for community service hours and things like that.
Yeah.
So I'm always, we always look for those opportunities.
Yeah, that's great. Other questions? You let me out that easy, huh?
As I told you, Sworn them to
I have
silence?
one other question.
Yeah.
Okay, go.
Do you do your clubs during the day, or are they solely after school?
Most of the clubs are after
Yeah.
school, yeah. You know, there's just not the coverage, it's really
Right.
impossible to do coverage. But I'll tell you the biggest club at NFA is Dungeons and Dragons.
The gaming club, yeah.
I have no idea what they're doing, but they love it. And I had no idea that was such a following. I mean, I think that's actually a phrase in there. It's on, I don't know why you have a club on a Friday afternoon, but they have a club on Friday afternoon, and we had to move it out of one building was in Cranston in the Project Outreach, which is our community service arm, where we do all that. And had to move down into the cafeteria because it was too many people in one room. That's a pretty good problem to have. Very unique group of kids. in
Yeah,
that
Project
club.
Outreach offers a lot of opportunities.
for
Yeah,
decades,
it's really,
right?
Kate Gita
Yeah.
leads a good program out of there too. Another person you get in touch with, volunteers, and
Yeah.
it's great.
Just a comment, your unified program is
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Gives our
Yes.
kids with disabilities
Yeah.
a really good opportunity to have some experiences, but also to build friendships with typically developing peers. And
Yeah.
the staff that you have doing that have been doing it for years,
Yeah.
and just do a great
Yeah.
job. So wonderful.
I should have mentioned that. We really didn't talk a lot about special education. It was on the slides, but we didn't talk a lot about it. But, you know, there's 260 students there that are identified as special needs, and really appreciated Lloyd's work. My first day at NFA, my first meeting at NFA was Adam. And Adam was not in a good mood that day. And he gave me both barrels of shotgun. But I heard the message loud and clear. And some of the frustration really centered on special education.
And I deeply appreciate your follow-through and the cost savings that you implemented with knowing where every penny is going for special ed especially.
I learned from Adam, I'm one step away from getting a binder like him. That's my next big step. But the special ed program, one of my favorite kids at NFA is one of your special students, Zane. He is an awesome kid. And I don't know if Zane went to Voluntown Elementary Schools. I believe he kind of transferred in. And Zane is into everything. He's on our unified cheerleading team. He's on our unified basketball. He's in everything. And Zane was walking around school with a hat that had a C on it. And I don't know what the C was. I told him, Zane, can't wear a Colchester hat at this school. Like, you're not allowed to do that. So he goes, what's my hat? So I said, well, come on upstairs. I had one of the tennis coaches to give me a tennis hat. So I gave Zane my tennis hat. I don't think Zane's taken the hat off in months. He is such a great kid. And I know, Lloyd, you worked hard on him. He's awesome.
We had his meeting today, he's just doing.
He is a really bright soul. Yeah.
Yeah, and it is unified as such a wonderful program, but it's also an opportunity for all the student body to engage and volunteer their time and just find opportunities to get involved, you know, whether they are involved in extracurricular stuff or whatever, but it's like, it really does bring the whole community together. I don't know.
It's actually the most beautiful, to me, it's the most beautiful part of the obviously disabled and non-disabled peers. And some of our kids that I would never expect to be into this kind of thing, and of course, all volunteer, their hearts, there's a girl today, I told her, I said, you know, you have something special in your heart, like watching her interact with students with very significant needs. And this girl is very popular. This girl is she's a pretty girl. She's an athlete. And to watch her slow down and invest herself in someone else who may not have all the things that she has is really remarkable. I don't know what that means for her. I don't know whether this is where she's going to go, but I think for a moment of humanity right there, that's pretty special. And I'm really proud of it. I should have talked about that, but that is something we all should be proud of. You should be proud of it too, that those are your kids.
But Nate, I do really appreciate all the follow-through and the strategies that you've developed to really make good things happen. And I applaud you for your efforts.
Yeah. Well, thank you, and thanks for letting me get out of that meeting. I thought that was my first and last day on the job there for a little bit, but I did survive it, and I made some promises that I've been trying to live up to. So you know, with you leaving, I'm gonna have to stay on point, you know, I won't be,
I know. Greg Cornell was actually very, very upset when I let him know about the retirement. He's like, you don't know what's happening here, Kate. Like, you need to like get it together and understand the magnitude of what's gonna happen when you lose Attenborough. And what we're gonna lose when we have no bottom, you know. So it goes to show how respected you are, Adam.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you for.
If I can be a help in any way, I'll, you know, I got some cards I'll hand out on the way out, but if I can ever be a help, please let me know, and, you know, thank you for that.
Mhm.
I'm sure I can give you my cards and someone else's.
I know you work.
Good, we're like a team here, you know?
Dee Dee's great. She's our back. She does so much for us on every level.
Thank you all, good evening.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Bye.
Okay, see you tomorrow.
Okay. All right, so we always know that when we have a guest speaker, it's gonna get us to the next hour. So we'll try to be efficient with the rest of our time and maybe keep it to, 10 to 15 minutes per section, and then maybe we'll get out of here. Agreed? Feel good about that? Okay.
Yes, heard.
Okay, all set.
Thank you.
So our consent agenda, do we have a motion to approve it as presented?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays, none heard, motion passes. For administrative reports, we have Mrs. Cefaletto's report.
You have a copy of my report. February was very busy. I don't know, I scheduled all those things all at once, but February was finally over. March, we had Read Across America, so it's like a highlight for us. And our big kids always like to participate in that too. We had Representative Lanu, he came in, and he always asks to come in and read, so we always welcome Brian. We had Judge Donna Berlant, and she came, and she read to a group of our younger students. Kate came in, Tracy Hansen came in, who else came? So the librarian came in, her name is Stearns came in, yes. We had quite a few people come. It was a great experience being able to, to share the love of reading and really promote that with kids. Our Honor Society had gone to the YSB meeting. They made a presentation. YSB donated funds for them. We held a volleyball tournament, and they ended up raising all of the money they needed for the emblem.
Really?
Oh,
It all
really?
got raised?
Yeah. So after the volleyball tournament, they counted all their pennies. They had everything plus a little bit extra, so we ended up ordering just a plaque to put up with the Honor Society members to recognize that they were the ones that, raised the money for this emblem that'll hopefully be there for, quite a long time. So they did do it, but one of the things that I told them, when you collect money from a community, it's really important to thank those people, right? So when we have an assembly, it's important that all of our kids are recognized, because even that one little dollar that somebody brought in is part of that's on the floor. So it's really important that, we recognize the community. YSB, Rec Commission, they had gone to Rec Commission, they gave them a donation also. We had gotten some community members who had given us donations, so that really helped, kind of fuel that project. So they did it, and I said next year we're not doing that much. We'll do something a little bit smaller, because it was a huge amount of money that they raised, but definitely for a good cause. The gym's going to look great, and we'll unveil that after April vacation.
Well, yeah, definitely. On behalf of the board, our congratulations to the entire community, but those students, that their hard work, and they really did engage with the community and the school system and what it takes to, have a goal and really work hard to achieve that, so.
And they were really
Very
good
proud.
about our, really getting our middle school, like, we talk about this Eagle emblem all the time.
Yeah.
So like, our kids feel like, oh, we're all doing this. So other people want to have projects and like, no, we're not fundraising anymore. That's it. We're not, selling popcorn and, moms, whatever you want to say. So, but everybody feels.
Why
part of
not?
it.
Come
So,
on.
They want to do like babysitting. I said, well, we're not babysitting. No.
And Michelle Pellinan.
I know, right?
Yeah, Michelle Pellinan's artwork was the one that was chosen, right?
Yeah, Michelle's artwork,
Not to
Yeah, and that's it. So like, it really is, they're the ones that did this. So it was really a good. Yeah, it'll be great. It'll be great once it's in. So you're all invited. I know it'll be a Monday morning because of course the kids are going to go in the gym. So we're going to cover it. We're going to do it right away at 9.
Nice.
And unveil it in front of the school. So. All right. I'll stop there unless there's any questions.
No questions for Ms. Slaughter. Thank you for the brief report. Then we have the Director of Student Services, Mr. Johnson.
Good evening.
Hello.
As I recall, a little while ago, we asked permission to donate a piece of equipment that we no longer needed, that was fairly old, and discussed with my wife where I was planning to donate it. She said, Floyd, half a day, all that gas to go to Hartford, isn't there someplace closer? It's very close to where I live. I was director in East Lyme, the preschool, special education preschool is in the elementary school. I was principal of. I delivered it Wednesday. They can use it. So that piece of equipment, which was released by the community, by the town to allow us to donate, is going to be able to service another student in another place. And so I wanted to give you that feedback. And we completed the last link state testing. Any student within whose home a language other than English is also spoken, there's a testing process the youngsters have to participate in. And we completed that with the assistance of Emily Nelson and Andrea Kelly just a few days ago. So that's been done. And the results are analyzed. If there's things that the teachers can be working on, we'll use that information to help them. The youngsters take the test every year until they get to a point where all of their scores are above a certain criteria. So reading, writing, listening, and speaking before the nation is successful. Thank you. Any other questions?
Thank you. Johnson, no questions? And we appreciate everything you do on behalf of all of our students, so thank you.
Well, it's been a roller coaster.
Yes,
the last few
yes,
weeks.
I know, it's been a little bit, yes.
But it's, all of the publicity that the funding of special education and extraordinary costs really were on my desk the last month. And I'm glad the governor is helping. Maybe in the future there'll be a lot more help so that no extraordinary expense that a community has to be responsible for can be shared more by the entire state community. It's been an interesting month. Thank you.
I wonder how much of the 1.3 billion that the Democrats spent on illegal immigrants would help our special education students around the state.
I just hope what's been funded over the last few years continues to be funded. So we have staff supported by Title I, and we have staff supported by the special ed grant. I hope those grants are not withdrawn.
Yeah.
There's a lot that can be done to make sure all funds are spent appropriately.
Okay.
Yes, so you have my calendar of events, and in the minutes I will include the money that we return, to the town thus far. It's in the vicinity of 68,000. You have the enrollment report. The high school enrollment has been somewhat, consistent, and there's a number of things that we'll get into, but unless there's any questions, Kate, we could move on to the, to the old business.
Okay, just making sure we're on the same page here. An agreement, okay, old business. The first item is the transportation update.
Yes, and this is going to be a two-part presentation. I'm going to talk about the financing lease purchase of buses as the first part, and there's a little report that I prepared for the board. Of course, at the last meeting, we made a presentation about replacing all of the buses, and there was a 3-3 vote, so that did not pass. Is there enough, Arica? Here. Okay, you got it. Well, okay, so the Transportation Committee met and they reviewed, where we were with the activity. And the Transportation Committee went and suggested that we lease purchase 3 77-passenger gasoline buses at 128, 918, and 1 41-passenger bus at 122,209. That comes to $508,000. I was called yesterday and told by the company that got the bid, if a decision is not made and you delay it, the cost for the buses will go up $2,500 per bus. So if we don't make a decision tonight and delay it for another meeting, the cost will increase by $10,000. The Transportation Committee will continue to meet to review the wear life of the remaining 4 buses and develop recommendations for a phase-in for replacing the remaining buses. Now, as you know, on April 14th, 2016, which is almost 9 years ago, we purchased 6 77-passenger buses, 2 36-passenger buses. We traded in 8 buses, and then the amount that we financed was $460,000. That was paid off in 3 years. So the above increase shows what's happening. So, I am going to request that the board approve the purchase of 4 buses and securing quotes for a municipal lease and authorize the trade-in of 4 buses. But if you turn to the next page, I wanted to break this down with what the financial impact is. And as you can see, in 24-25, we have budgeted $643,875. That's in this budget. And what I'm proposing for 25-26, with running the whole transportation department, getting the 4 buses, trading in the other buses, it's projected to cost $651,785. That's an increase of $7,910 from this year. Now, option 1, replacing the 4 buses in 25-26. And I put down that we're going to have to put in $70,800 for maintenance and repairs because of the old buses and the new buses. And then in the budget proposal, you'll see that there's a projected $99,800 to start in the lease purchase. So that means that the total is $170,600. If the board decides not to buy the 4 buses tonight, I would have to put in, and this is option 2, $115,000 in the maintenance to repair, the 8 older buses, which will be, approaching 10 years old. And I also, if we didn't do it, I would put money in $55,600 for a down payment for future replacement, because we will need to replace these older buses, and that will help you develop an important thing. Now, I want to make sure that you look up above to the 24-25. the account 2712 is for special ed, and you can see this year it's $150,796 because we purchased a 2-wheelchair handicap van. And so we had that base in our budget to maintain the transportation. Now, what does this look like overall? Well, it looks like you've got a 16-year history of what's happening with transportation. And then recent transportation budgets show what has been happening. And of course, 21, 22, that was during the back end of the pandemic. And then we wound up having some increases. And of course, we went from 23, 24 from 583,000 up to 643,000. That's like $60,000 more because that's when we purchased the van free and clear. So you can see, so the town has a diesel bid, and I have to tell Tracy as soon as possible that we will need diesel for 4 buses. And then with the gasoline, we wind up signing a discounted price with one of the companies. For years, we had one at the local gas station that we used for any gasoline that we had, and we also use that for diesel. So the priorities for the development of 25, 26 is the current update of the bus routes, replacement of the 4 buses, trading in 4, compare gasoline to electric vehicles, as well as cost of charging stations. But that we've investigated that. The cost of an electric bus is absolutely incredible. Completed the town RFP process and procurement process for securing the buses. We followed that to a T. And then we do need to seek ways to address the shortage of CDL bus drivers. And then we are going to maximize efficiencies with bus routes and, of course, scheduled transportation meetings. But right now, I need to know if you support the trading in of the 4 buses and go through this process. This is the 3rd time, I believe, that I've done this, and it would leave you with 4 new vehicles, which would also address some of the safety issues that occur. And I can't guarantee how much additional repairs would be, but I will tell you this, that we will review the buses very carefully with our maintenance provider and make sure that we're addressing any maintenance issue, because the DMV comes around and spots checks and they inspect vehicles, and we have always been in compliance, and that's been a given. So if something needs to be done, we fix it. But budgeting $115,000 in repairs for keeping older vehicles going, we might be able to do better if we follow the recommendation of option 1. And I would appreciate if there was a motion to approve this, because tomorrow morning I have to go ahead and write either a purchase order to order the buses, or we just say we'll wait another year. Now, I am trying to find $10,000 in this budget for a down payment, and that locks in the purchase order. And as you know, the previous purchase order I wrote was on April 16th, 2016. So this is a decision-making time, and I would like the board to, follow through. The Transportation Committee has spent a lot of time reviewing this, and the vendor assures us that the gasoline engines that they're bringing in, would be able to provide the power and help for what's going on.
So just what we have now is 8 gasoline or 8 diesel?
We have
What do we have now? All diesel or all gas?
Yes, we have all diesel, but diesel are gonna be phased out,
Okay,
I
so
believe
we're
so.
going-
And the
going-
diesel has this additive called DEF that eats out the turbochargers, and we have $14,000.
Replacing 4 diesel with 4 gasoline.
That's right.
And we'll still have 4 diesel, 4 gas.
Yes, and then that will allow you to make a decision, about the next round. And, I do think that this would, save money. The other thing that happened is the Transportation Committee may stagger. They may not necessarily buy 4 new buses next year. They might buy 2 and then 2. And if the buses are in good repair, there's a possibility, because the diesel engines do have some longevity, and we bought excellent transmissions when we wrote the specs for the current fleet.
And I have one more thing under priorities. We really have to make a priority to look at contracted services.
Well, contracted services is coming next. This
Yeah,
decision right
yeah.
here, I don't want to talk about anything else at this point except replacement of the buses, and we need to make a decision, and then Amy has some good things to talk about with the outsourcing. So that's the second part of this presentation.
Okay.
But I think your question is excellent,
I
but
just want to make sure we're
Sorry.
not.
Who inspects the health of our buses?
State of Connecticut.
This is
oh,
Connecticut.
DMV. DMV will have somebody just show up at the bus depot, and they'll go through all of the records, and they're quite thorough, and if there's something wrong, will be written up. There's no scheduled appointment or anything. They just show up and this is it. So, that's one of the things, and we have always been in compliance, Erica.
I have 2 questions. One, this morning, there was an issue with the buses. Did that have something to do with maintenance, or was that, okay. That was my first question. I wasn't sure.
I was like, the wheels are falling off the buses.
Well, I mean, is it like something that, like, I don't know, just curious.
You need a person
We
in the
need,
bus.
we need
Oh,
a
that's
person
right.
problem.
And my second question is that there's some information about trade-ins of the buses. Has anyone been able to come down and inspect them to say, like, yes, they are, the company that you got the information from on prices, are they willing to take the trade-ins? Or is this just a guess? I guess, is the 30,000 a guess, or is it something that we know is going to actually happen?
Okay, if you have a 5-year-old bus right now, they're probably worth about $60,000-$70,000. And as I checked a national-wide search, I put down 30,000 as a base, but we could turn around and we keep our buses in good repair, and the kids are very, very good with respecting the seats and everything. So if somebody walks on them, they're going to see quality seats, they'll see tinted, glass, and that we have features and specifications. So I've seen 2017 buses in the used list nationwide going for 30,000, 27,000, but ones in good condition, I was seeing 40,000. So if you approve this, then what I do is we check around, we have people inspect them, but we're looking for a transfer in July. If we make the decision today, we could possibly have these buses in July, perhaps August, but we would love to have them for the first day of school. And we have other things that we want to do, like take out our surveillance equipment and put them in the new buses, because we like the equipment that we have right now. So there's things that need to be done with registration and other things. But I don't know the actual price, so I put down a price of 30,000 based on my research and what's available over the internet. If you want to go and inspect that, but we won't know until we advertise and we put them out. Last time around, we got what was it? I said it there. We had trade-ins for about 200,000, and that was on 8 buses. So I hope that we do okay with this.
I think the one thing that was from the committee's kind of information process that made the most sense was this phase-in approach, just from even a budgetary perspective of giving us more time to, save for and project out and say, we're going to do this. And, we know we need things for the safety of the school buses and where they are right now. It's dicey on quite a few of them, but I think with this phase-in approach, it'll help us just budget it better over time and manage it, so.
And we are spending a tremendous amount every month on
Yeah.
repairs. I see that month after month, I'm signing checks for $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month. Some months, not every month, but some months $50,000 for a check for repairs on a bus.
That line is in deficit right now for the repairs. But we cover it with other savings from other areas. So, again, approve, I put down to make a motion to approve the purchase of 4 buses from School Line and, number 2 would be, another part would be secure quotes for municipal lease purchase. And I go through a site on that and then authorize the trade-in of the 4 older buses. And those are to be determined. Now, with the municipal lease, we had some companies that we researched, and there's some companies out there that have been excellent to help us. And I like, being able to have the opportunity to pay it off as soon as possible. So it's just like filling up the, the fuel oil tank for the school at the end of the year. If I have some balances, I will help pay that off, or I would work, whoever would work to help pay that off. And then, you wind up saving on some interest and other types of things.
And we work with the town on that municipal lease.
Say that again?
We work with the town through the lease purchase.
Yeah, well, of course, we go through the town. There's municipal lease things, but I would check with, of course, you check with Tony, you check with the town, but this is coming out of our budget.
Right, we're paying for it, but it's just going through their
And that was one of the other
protocols.
things too. When we were talking about the capital improvement plan, I talked to Tracy and I indicated we have things for building projects in the capital improvement plan. Traditionally, we've taken the buses from the school budget, and Anthony confirmed, the town treasurer, that this was okay. So you have a line item for, lease purchase. And as I said, I put in 99,800 per year. And, we might do monthly payments or other types of things, but we're already ahead of the game. If I can put $10,000 down, that would help reducing, that amount of money being financed over a few years.
Do we have a motion? We can do this in one motion, can't we? Exactly
Yeah,
how you said it.
we need a motion for authorizing me to, sign the purchase order and order the buses.
From School Line and securing the quotes for our municipal lease purchase and authorize the trade-in of 4 buses.
Motion.
And it's definitely trade-in of 4? 4, yep,
Yeah.
okay, 4 buses.
I guess my question is, if it were to come back that it would be looking at a busing company, what does that do to these buses, these new buses?
Oh, you mean outsourcing?
Yeah, because I know that's on the
Yeah,
next agenda item.
Yeah.
So we just bought brand new buses and then.
He said they buy them from.
They buy them all.
They take them up. They take the contract and pick it up.
That's what the contractors, consultants.
I did not talk to them.
That when we had our transportation meeting, that's what they said when we discussed it.
That's what somebody from the outsourcing company said, or somebody on the transportation committee said that?
No, the School Line.
In the 2 times that I've participated in outsourcing, when a company comes in, they evaluate the quality of your buses and they have to give you a reasonable cost for that, and that's part of they purchase the fleet. So
Okay,
they
so
would
don't
use
take
our
over the lease-
buses.
They don't take over the leases, they basically give us a depreciated
Right,
amount.
we would take a huge loss because the depreciation, the second you buy it, we would lose money. I think we should wait for the new superintendent to explore this, and I feel we're going to be putting budgetary items on him or her that should be best left to the new person to decide how they would like to run the
But then we
district.
have all these repairs that we're paying every month, and then we have these buses that we're not quite sure of the life and the health of them. So what do we do in the meantime?
That was the review of their committee was.
Another,
Like giving him a chance to
And
come
9
in.
months to a year won't kill us on,
I don't know if we have that much time, I think is
They're
the
falling
issue,
apart,
Chris.
literally.
And so this is a compromise from, we know we need to replace all of them. We know we may make different decisions around transportation. So this is sort of a way to allow us to bridge, to be able to have a safe fleet, get kids to and from school, and a bridge period to allow for additional evaluation. That's the way, that's my perspective on it. That's the way I'm looking at this, which is like, you don't, like, it's the only thing we can do right now to bridge.
But the expense of the maintenance is because of the additive, so, or.
Yeah, because of what it does to the engine. It
Right, but
literally
what I'm
is
saying
eating up
is
the
it's-
engines.
The increase in the maintenance is not because of buses that are actually breaking down, it's because of.
It's
this
not just
additive
that. That was
all
one
kinds
of the
of
major
things.
expenses. Now there's doors not opening. There's
Everything.
certain things that are just like tires that are
Like,
having.
come on, you gotta take it down to.
Yeah,
the shop
I
and
had a
then
list on one bill of like 58 different things that were broke on the bus that had to be fixed. 58 different things. It was just onward and onward, and that was like 52,000 for the bill, on that one.
I don't know, but they also have like a,
Buses are a vital piece of
Yeah,
getting
no, I get
kids
it.
to and from school. This is kind of.
It's safety.
Oh my God, we have to buy new buses.
they're piecemealing using like different buses to help out different buses at this point. I mean, it's like a
They could
patch
do
here to
half a
take
loop,
here. They're
some of
stealing
them.
something from 2 buses to get this bus to run. I mean, that's how fragile the system is on these buses. They've gotten a 10-year life. I think, yes, if maybe, in hindsight, we have a 5-year plan of maybe phasing them in a little slower, which is what our plan is now, while we evaluate what it could look like in another scenario of maybe, finding a contracted solution, if that is more economical and what we want for our children in our district. I think this is where the committee felt it needed to go. And I think it helps our budgeting. It helps us stay more, stable.
what about purchasing used buses? That would be a huge cost savings. They'd be in order and warranted for a period of certain years. And we would have newer serviceable equipment and the ability to not take massive depreciation loss if we do have to turn it over to a contract service company.
Used buses?
The depreciation is something that's always there, but the issue is how long would it take to complete the process with outsourcing? Because again, that would have to be part of the negotiation process.
No, we're talking about used buses versus.
Yeah,
new
like-
buses.
Yeah,
like
and then
used
used buses, I haven't gone that route, but I'm sure that there might be some available. That would be something that would have to probably be left for the new superintendent to review. So if you want to delay it, then that's fine. I have a plan of action here with some good prices, again,
And it's
the
how
bus-
much-
The bus
yeah.
company is, giving us a pretty good price. I was surprised because these prices were discounted from the retail value that we had. And when they came in with that price of 128,000, there was already a hefty discount.
We have a motion, need a second? Is that what we're hearing?
Yeah, but I
Second.
don't know if you got that, Judy. I got the motion.
Yep, okay, we have a second. All in favor? Okay, aye.
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 Any opposed? 3, unopposed. Any abstained? Unheard? 4 votes for yay, motion passes to approve the purchase of 4 buses from School Line and the quote for municipal lease purchase and authorize the trade-in of 4 older buses. Okay. So in terms of the transportation priorities, we have the EastCon discussion that's
So I'm passing around a paper. I'm gonna utilize this format when we have a board meeting, so we can just keep track of what
I've
we
got
talk
another
about. It's got 3 different agenda items on it, so I'll just refer to it when we come up to those pieces, just so that we have record of, where we are and where we're going. So I just outlined it for us. I have been in contact with EastCon. I was in contact with them this past week. I haven't received any update yet. They told me they're working on it. I don't know, how long that takes. Yeah, I do have one more. I don't know how long that takes. But I have requested, multiple times for them to provide me that information. One of the key points on here is the number 4B. I know not much about transportation. However, in some of my contacts, I received the name of a gentleman that has recently completed a transportation audit for a neighboring town. And that transportation audit, after I looked up who this person was, he does this for a living and does it for multiple districts. So I think this is what the board is actually looking for, more of an audit of the transportation department, if that's my understanding, more of an audit, not just of routes, but of everything. So if the board would like, I did put out interest to this gentleman. He did get back to me. He said he would just need a couple of days to put together a proposal of like what he does and what that looks like. So this is beyond just routes. This is everything, your efficiency, your gas, like all those things. And I think that's what we were talking about. And we didn't know where do you find that person. So this happened through to connect with this gentleman. And then I Googled it. There's, different reports that he has written. So very comprehensive, types of things. I think that would answer a lot of our questions that we all have, like how do you wrap your head around this enormous thing? So hopefully that might help us. So if the board would like me to proceed in contact with him, I will. And I will talk to Adam. I don't know what the cost is.
right.
If it's astronomical, then maybe no. But, it is something that maybe we should look at and we should move forward with. So once he gets back to me, I can give that information to Adam and he can review it and, we can kind of just go from there and see what he has to offer.
Now, does he look into contracted services for?
I think that could be part of it. I'm not sure. He hasn't given me back
once he
anything
gives
yet.
us something
Yeah.
better.
One thing that we were, during the meeting, our guest, who's worked with multiple facets of different communities that have looked into, their private fleet versus, public fleets and outsourcing and all that stuff. He did mention that some of these larger companies, they do that service and they only allow them, like, you to use their service. So even if we've taken, say, EastCon as the person, first student would be like, well, we need to do this all on our own to give you the quote that you're having. So it's just a heads up that like when and if, or, how we pursue it, or, how we do more research on this, we'll see a lot of this stuff going on.
And I think, and I know I had shared an article with you, which was interesting, and you can Google it. A couple years ago, Canterbury had gone through the same process. And there's an article out there on how long the process took for them to actually research what to do and how to go about it, and then their final decision. And I think they decided not to outsource, but you can Google it, and it was like a day article.
Yeah.
And it was interesting to read, just to provide that information in context of like how big this actually is to get an RFP and get bids in, and then look at the pieces of it. So that's just something I thought I'd share once, I investigated it some more. So I will, be in touch with this gentleman. I'll provide that information. And based on what I saw of what he has written already, like I said, I feel like that might be what actually you're looking for, that in more in-depth information than just picking up the phone and calling someone and getting it that way. Okay.
I want to thank you for taking all this on and working on this. I know you have
I'm gonna drive a bus
tons of
next.
free time to work on transportation.
I'm gonna drive a van next. I'm gonna drive a van. I'll have Darlene.
Much appreciated.
Darlene.
And the whole, obviously, a lot of people that are involved in this, it's, it's not just, it's Amy, but also the whole transportation department that helps, provide the information, so
It's
it's
a big chunk
a,
of money that we're spending every year.
And we want to spend it wisely. We want to
Wisely,
make an informed decision, so.
With the quick
As you
decision.
know, the contract bus services will have their own person come in and
Yeah.
look at
Yes.
every facet. I don't know if they provide a report, however, or they keep it to themselves and just
Yeah.
give you a quote.
right.
And I'm not
That's
familiar.
that's what he was kind of, intimating, that it's like, you're gonna get this whole, rigmarole too.
And we
and
probably
they-
want more of a
better for worse.
non-biased, like just someone who, this person isn't trying to sell us a bus.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
He's trying to,
Perfect.
this
He's
person
not
is
trying to
somebody
sell us a
Like
route,
he is-
he's not trying to
We'll know
sell
where
us.
we stand if we need to work on something.
On
if we
something
don't,
else, I guess.
If we need to buy buses or we don't.
And I think in the future, this other person from this other town, they do this annually, so I can't imagine it costs that much money, but they do the audit, I would say annually or biannually, I would assume, just to see, so, but that's something else, let's just see what he says
Yeah,
first.
see what it
And how much he costs.
How much he
and then we'll
costs?
know.
I'm like, oh my goodness.
We'll see how much he
And
costs
then it
first.
could
Yeah.
be revisited like every 2 years or every
You
3
could,
years.
maybe
You could
just
go
set it.
back and say, maybe we need contracted services
Whatever
now
it is,
at
whatever
some
you read,
point.
yeah,
Just because you say no once doesn't mean forever.
right,
It'll be nice to have an outsider give us a report.
some feedback.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Does his audit include, bus route scheduling? Does he do that?
I
also?
I think review, from what I read, reviews the efficiency of routes. So I think that's also part of it. So we'll have EastCon, who's still working, and hopefully this other person, if this pans out. But now we know where to look and where to find a person that does this. So
Excellent,
Is
okay.
there any motion or anything you need from the board right now to make free to be able to go
I
into
don't think so.
contract with
I
them?
think Adam can just make
Okay.
that decision. Yeah. As long as you're aware, I just want to make you aware. Yeah.
We're not holding it down for you.
I just want to publicly state that I really appreciate the transportation staff for what they've done this year shorthanded, because we are down one bus driver, and that requires people to put in overtime and cover extra routes and make adjustments to make sure that we can safely transport the students to and from school. And our transportation department has really had to work extra hard this year to do that. I'm in hopes that we can eventually find another bus driver with a CDL license to be able to help with that process.
That's a tough priority.
Not to jump ahead, but I know, or maybe I am.
No,
jumping
you are
ahead.
jumping in.
Sorry.
No, don't go ahead.
I'm not
No,
going
I was like,
Sorry,
yeah,
sorry,
we're
sorry.
Yep. I've got my gavel.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna be listening and be all patient.
I actually know what you're gonna ask. so
I know
we'll wait
you
and
do.
see.
Okay, does that cover everything under
That covers
transportation?
everything.
Okay, yep, okay. All right, so moving on to old business item 2, updated budget proposal for 25-26. Adam, what did you whittle down for us now? What's the state of the roller coaster ride? The spending plan for the budget?
Say that again.
I'm just rambling about the budget. What did you whittle down for us? Or
Oh, okay. Oh, here we go.
What is it?
Budget, yes. this is about $118,000 less than the budget I gave you last month. So when we were reviewing what's happening, and we are in a roller coaster with outplacements, and we could have a new student move in, and it could cost up to $200,000. And then the next month, that student might move out. And so we have some savings. As we get the enrollments with what's happening for this year, that determines where we are. Now, the budget today, you have to approve, and we send it over to Town Hall for our public hearing in April. And just like in last year's, I just told you this budget is $118,000, a little bit more, less than what happened last month. And we may have some changes that can occur between now and April. So I really do want to make sure that you keep that, keep that in mind, okay?
I know, it's like bringing some sugar to get through this one.
Oh, okay.
If there's an extra cookie, I'll take it.
Everyone needs to like our.
You should always have cookies right in between transportation and budget. Here we are all laughing and cheering.
I know, that is like, that is
I'm going to
nice.
indulge too.
This is perfect, laughing and.
Already about the mom's cake. What the feeling, oh,
Yeah,
what kind of
I'll
stuff.
tell you after. Oh, yeah, I'll get all the details.
That's what I'm kind of cycling that kind of, that box.
Mm-hmm. You know. No.
I know you have a huge fire relief, I know.
So this budget today is, shows a total of $7,501,442, and it represents an increase of $197 or 2.74% over the current budget. This proposal will be reviewed in the next few weeks, and we'll see what's happening, but this is the budget that I believe we should give to the town to review. But if there's changes in this, then what I would do is at the public hearing, if we had some savings and other things, I would revise it to give that to the board, to the public, because I don't want to go through this budget and 4 minutes later say, oh, we had some cost savings. So this is the approach. It involves the negotiated salaries for teachers and non-certified, pending any adjustments, and classified salaries to be verified. And Kate and I talked about that. We'll review those at the April meeting. Projected cost of outplacements for special ed. Projected cost of tuitions for the designated high schools. And then increased 10% for the cost of health insurance, but that's not final because the CT partnership will let us know in a few weeks what their rate is. Now, I'm in hopes that we can have a repeat because they said, oh, last year they said budget 10%, and the average increase was about 5%. Our premiums went up 2 point something percent. So, we have had a good record with the Connecticut partnership. The replacement of 4 buses in our 9-year-old fleet of buses. And then construction services allocation to complete an asbestos abatement project in 4 classrooms in the 1960 section of VES and replace the 1990 HVAC system in our library. Now, the building committee has met, and of course, they did an RFP for the asbestos. This is the final part for the asbestos, but we only have a certain remaining balance from the oil tank funds. So I put money in this budget proposal so that we can complete the whole project. this summer. And then with the HVAC system, we have a comprehensive RFP that's going out, and we intend to get the numbers in next month, and we can see that where that is. Now, the town allocated, I think we've got about 22,000 left, but the system is going to cost a little bit more than that. So I put it in construction services to complete those process. And of course, my recommendation is that you approve this budget to send out to the town hall. Now let's go into the second page, and this is an important thing. The 1, 2, 3, 4 paragraph down. For 18 years, we've applied for a school readiness grant and received annual funding, which is now increased to about $207,000 for our preschool. Our school readiness council meets on a regular basis, and a grant for $180,000 based on recent statewide reduction in the allocation per pupil is being submitted. Amy, did they approve that?
We did, yes, we secured the 180,000.
180,000. So now, you see we've dropped, so I have to go into the budget because we still have to run the program, and we had to take a little bit of the board funds to pay for some of the personnel in the preschool program because that's a dynamic program. We want to continue with that. The new, the Office of Early Childhood has proposed replacing our local school readiness council with a local governance partnership, and that includes nearby communities. Now, we just received this, okay? And if we're going into the local governance council, would like the money to be put into that council, but the allocation from each town be run out of the individual town offices. I don't want to have to write a purchase order and send it to another town to process. I would prefer to be able to run the payroll, the supplies, the other things out of our central office. Sorry, I just like to have control of every
What is
penny.
the name of this new one? The name of the new one?
So what happened was with this early childhood funding is that they want basically towns like us, Griswold, Sprague, Lisbon, those who receive funding for like TVCCA, school readiness, we get school readiness funds, to come together more regionalized, and then they're gonna disperse like administrative funds to then monitor all these places. Now, no one really wants to do this because everybody likes their own program in their own place. So there's a lot of uncertainty. They've been having a lot of meetings about this, but they're kind of like building the plane as they go. So there's a lot of questions like who is controlling the money and how is that being disseminated? Like that's our 180,000 to pay for our employees. So who holds that? So if we bridge with Griswold, and we've talked to them, they're a sending town, it kind of is natural for us to bridge with them in a way. What does that look like? So there's no clear answers on that. So we're kind of waiting, like, we're not gonna form anything until they tell us. I plan to apply as a sole unit still and see what they say. You can still apply as that.
What is it called?
The local governance council.
Partnership.
Partnership. I don't even know the right name of it. Partnership, because it's very, very new.
LGP.
LGP, that's the acronym now in the early childhood world.
It's not DEI, is it?
So we're going to, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, preschool is vital,
Yeah.
especially for our birth to 3
Yeah.
kids, like that really does save us quite a bit when we have children come in that require services and needs, right? So we need a preschool program in some capacity. Now it's kind of being micromanaged in a way of how this is dispersed and whatever. So anyway, long story short, that maybe will happen, maybe won't happen. Hopefully it won't happen.
I know.
decreased amount, are we still gonna be able to bring in from other towns? Because other towns
So we changed,
still are.
yeah,
That's the
so
question.
we changed our seats. So we are going from 44 to 30 because right now, based on our enrollment, it's hard for us to fill 44. We probably have 6 to 8 non-residents just because we're trying to get to 44.
We lose money, correct? If we
Yeah.
don't,
Yeah, don't we
Correct.
lose
Yes,
some funding?
yeah, so
are we in danger of that?
Yeah.
no, so we haven't had that happen at all, but that is the premise of the program, like, if you're not filling spots, and what they'll do is take the spots. So for us, it's easier to give the spots back, because in reality, we're not gonna fill them, we don't have, there's, like we talked last time, there's not a lot of, like, kids out there.
Yeah, so
Um,
the problem with all that, though, any money we get for the person from Griswold goes to the town hall, not to us. It's not going
Wait, say that
into our budget, it's going into the, back to the town hall, those other tuitions.
well, yeah,
Yeah.
if we,
If you take 6 kids from Griswold and they're.
well, we don't
paying-
get, we per se don't get, we don't get money for that, we're just allocated 100, whatever, 200,000 right now is what we get for 400 places. So we are, that, I do enroll kids.
You're going
to
down
try
to
see-
30,
We'll go down to 30.
30.
Yeah, we just
Because
changed
we
our
can't
arrangement with the
fill.
state, yeah.
Yeah, and so we could get 180 because it's 30 seats
For different
like,
hours of the
For different
day.
hours of the day, you get more money, so that's what we did, to get the most money that we could,
With the amount of
the
seats we need.
realistic numbers that
Yeah.
we have, yeah.
So our seats all gonna be Voluntown kids now, that we're going to 30?
Yeah, if we can,
Or do you still foresee that we're gonna go to the outside?
we might have to have some non-residents, yeah, so,
I just didn't know what the projection was,
Yeah.
that's why I asked.
it's a small class, they're small classes.
Families right on the border must love bringing their kids.
They do, I mean,
Yeah.
and people will call me, from Griswold and say, my kid went there 5 years ago. Can we come back, and they will. I mean, our preschool and people love Voluntown. I always tell people, you have to move here, you can't stay. So,
After preschool.
yeah, after preschool, sorry, bye. But, that is gonna be a problem if that funding continues to go down. We'll have to really just think about and adjust what's the most impactful and what can we do and how much does it cost,
No, I brought this up for an initial discussion, but we literally have only received bits and pieces of information. It hasn't been, comprehensive. And in discussions with, some of the other superintendents, we need to figure this out. But I'm in hopes that, the approach that we want to use, we might be the smallest district, but we have some pretty strong opinions about how we want to use the money and how we want to monitor that. And I'm looking to see if this partnership can just allocate our total grant to us. So this is what's happening with that. Okay, getting into the budget itself, I need to point out that one of our largest budgetary items is the 1,111 certified salaries. And if you look at that, we're at 1,366,068 for the regular ed teachers. It's less than last year, and it's about the same as the previous year. It's a little more, it's a little less than what was actually expended. And if you look back at 21, 22, this is, much less than it was, a few years ago. And so as our enrollment has been declining, we have been reducing staff through attrition, resignations, or retirement. And as you can see, the regular ed budget went down 1.48%. I would like to draw your attention to the 5161 account, which is the high school tuition. That is, this year we budgeted $1,057,000, and next year we're proposing $1,024,000. High school regular tuitions are going down. So when you're talking about the cost of high schools and stuff, we're holding our own with a regular tuition. Now, special ed, right now, we're at a 0.29%.
Adam, does this reflect replacing, does the regular ed, does it reflect you replacing retiring teachers, except Jackie with Mike, with lower income?
Yes, our, right now,
Lower.
the cost of the regular certified teacher contract for the total over 3 years is going to be $67,000 less.
All right. Is this covering this hiring 3 new teachers though? Or 2 new teachers?
We're not hiring
We're
3
not.
new teachers,
2.
but I'll get into
Yeah,
who we're
that's
we're
fine.
hiring. Good question,
Yeah,
Kathy.
We
Now,
got
if you-
Mike going over, I
Yeah,
realize,
if you
which is
look
fine.
here,
Thanks.
you can see that with special ed, certified staff, again, the 1112 and the 1200 account, we budgeted 222,000 this year, and next year we're budgeting 161,000. We reduced 1 teacher. That was a retirement we did not replace. So then we look, but there's been some increases in the non-certified wages. And then please look down into the tuition for public school special ed. This year we had 543,329. Budgeting for next year, it's $736,959. That's the largest increase. And then the one below is the $7,000 increase in private schools. I'm in hopes that we see a reduction in that by April or perhaps May. But we'll have to see what happens with some of the programming. And
Is that 7,000 reflective of those 2 high price? Is that 7,000 reflected of the two high costs?
yes,
Children,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
it.
There's outplacements,
Yeah, too
and
high
then there's the
inflation.
tuition, within the special ed program at the high school,
Yeah.
Kathy. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, the speech and language, again, we have a slight increase with that. You can see with contracted professional services, we have to offer more speech and language services to our high school students. So that's why that is increasing over the years. I wanted to move it down to library services. Margaret Volan retired, and we're not replacing Margaret. And we're going to reallocate a teacher to cover, the library for that quarter salary. And then with technology, at the last board meeting, I gave you, 3 different options that we're reviewing. We don't have that completed right now because we're reviewing, do you replace that with a certified teacher? Or do you replace that with a classified person? Or as North Stonington and Preston are doing, they have some learned services that help with purchase services. So that's under review. That's why I highlighted that. And Amy, Mike, and I in a subcommittee are, researching that just a little bit more so we can come back with a recommendation, possibly before, the actual budget hearing. Board of Education went up just a little bit. We had, property and liability, and I'll have to check that. But and then we're going through with, most of the other prices have remained the same, except the work that Dee Dee's had to complete has increased, and we decided that it would be important to increase,
Have to take care of Dee.
Are we increasing your hours?
Take care of
Are
us.
Never mind,
we
go on.
giving her more hours?
Go on.
More hours?
Okay. with the property and liability, we've been with Kerma, and we're getting no increase in the Kerma premium. And I'm not sure I have enough copies here, but you know, with the liability here, we have a 0% increase again for Kerma. So what we're doing is we have another three-year proposal, and based on what's happening. Oh, you had all the pages. You should take one that's together. Oh, which one do you have? Something got stuck. There should be just 3 pages.
We have two. We have one.
Yeah, it's this one.
We have 2 pages.
Yeah, 2 pages. Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, we can take them back here. But this is the annual premium that we work with Kerma. And again, the building committee uses Kerma a lot as they're developing RFPs. And we submit that to the town for reviews. And then Kerma also has a contract reading. So when you sign for a construction project, we send that over to Kerma. As a matter of fact, you know, this week or next week, Kerma will be sending in their rep to do an annual inspection to, you know, review the building and all systems, and they make recommendations. The services, Kerma also is our bus company, you know, insurance.
So why are we going from 36 to 55? It's 36 this year, 55 next year.
He said he was gonna look into that
Oh,
particular piece
all
of
right.
it,
Which
but yeah.
one?
36 to 55, that's
Under
my only
insurance, property
question.
liability.
Yeah, you're saying the rate's staying the same.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to,
Okay,
go back and review
all
that.
right. I see, I just saw that.
Yeah, that's why he said he's gonna look at it,
I'm
but then
sorry,
this.
I just saw that, so.
Yeah, I'll go
Good
back
catch.
and review that and get back to the board.
That's fine.
But this this budget was based on what's happening. I'm sorry about that. I thought I had that section counted out.
That'll make us down
But let
about
me just
2%.
let me
That'll bring us
just,
to 2%
check-
in that.
check something out with the property liability, because
Do we have another carrier? Do we carry with somebody else too? Is there another carrier involved?
I will have to check that, Kathy.
It's probably another
But
carrier
you
involved.
know, with the Board of Ed, for that particular budget, you know, we've spent in the past 30,000, 38, you know, 29, 23, 33, 33. There's something added in there, and I have to apologize, I forgot what it was, but I know that it could be something very, very legitimate.
Yeah, I'm
So,
sure. You know.
my apologies for that, and who knows, we might come back with some savings at the next meeting.
No, you're good. It's not extra copy.
I would like to be able to sign this with Kerma, because they're waiting, and you know, eventually, if the new person wants to go out to bid for insurance to see what they can do with matching that. But there's not time to complete a bid process between now and July 1st, and we need to have insurance. I do know that we added cyber insurance, Kathy.
Maybe
You know,
that's it.
there were a couple of other things, but I'm just not recalling them right now, and I apologize.
Doesn't Kerma write us a check every
Sometimes.
year for doing?
Yes, we get
Following the
a
recommendations and whatnot?
rebate, so they're coming in and they do the safety check, Chris. And then Brian and everybody, we get together and we complete all of the projects as soon as possible. whether it's, you know, a repair in a sidewalk or fixing a window or a door or, you know, checking something in the maintenance room. And, you know, we've been traditionally getting a rebate, you know, sometimes up to $3,600. So, you know, there's some positives with this. Plus, they're very good with contracts. And if there's any,
Did we ask
you know,
about just a single year contract versus a 3-year? What the rate would be on a single year contract?
I can't.
Single year contract, and can they do a single year contract?
And what would that rate be?
I'm not sure that they would give us that rate. But they haven't raised the rate in a while, Megan, so, you know, this is a 3-year rate. I imagine if we wanted to, we could say that we just want to continue the next 2 years, but I would have to check on that.
This will give the new guy a chance to go looking if he wants to. Whoever we get, it gives him time to look.
So by signing this, are we in for a 36,000 or a 55,000? Do we know what the different?
No.
That's the question, is like what that,
No, it
what
might
that
not be
change
the
is.
55,000.
Yeah,
You
that
know,
might be
generally
the
speaking,
cyber.
it's been a little,
That might be the
yeah.
cyber insurance. He
Yeah.
can't remember what it's called.
I am sorry.
Can we table it till the
Yeah,
next
can we
thing
do that
until we
next
have the
meeting?
clarification? We'll table the signing of the contract unless it's an urgent signature. Let's just table this until we know.
I can wait until the next next meeting, okay?
Okay.
Yep. Okay, superintendent's office is standard. The salary is based on the 45% rule, and I'm not sure what happens with that. Principal's office, 4.34. You know, with the superintendent's office, generally I try to prepay the dues and fees, but I'll wait until after July 1st so that the new person can determine what organizations they would like to use. And the equipment, I'm not sure what kind of computer the new person would like, but it would be good to be able to offer that to them. Okay, then
We have to hook up our new person with the right technology?
Yeah, we gotta get a computer and
A computer?
Okay, now let me get to something else here.
We're trying to attract people here.
Yeah.
That new computer better be as efficient as the binder.
Right.
Every question gets answered out of that binder instantly.
Okay, fiscal services.
And Adam, I just want to make note, fiscal services, we talked about this, and that was, there was a question last time, why was that so much? Do you remember somebody asked that question?
Yeah.
It's for, a fiscal audit, so we're audited every year, so we have to pay for that. It's for payroll and accounting software, so the software components.
Yeah.
And then it's for additional services that come or fall in with anything that has to do with the software, the audit, et cetera. So that's all encompassed in that.
Who does our payroll? Somebody like ADP or Paycheck?
It's such a jump, you know? like,
Yeah.
It's doubling in price
And the audit, yeah, we do every year, so that's.
This is the 61,245. We have, Tyler Technology. And Tyler Technology is a program that we've been using for years to document every single expenditure in the budget. So as I'm preparing reports for you, I use Tyler Technologies, and a number of school districts do, because it's so good for tracking all of the expenditures. And then there's also, analysis and monitoring of the budget. So that's the payroll system. We use Paycheck for the payroll monitoring. And you can see that each payroll, there is a cost for running that. And then we also have a time clock service that helps us with determining the hourly rates. So this is what happens with developing our budget for that program. And
I just want to say our audit had no problems at all when they did the audit for the school budget through the town. And
well, we've been able
Yeah,
to
it's been-
meet all sorts of auditing deadlines and other things. And I've been pleased that I've been able to use this because this allows me to monitor the expenditure of every penny.
Okay. This is very thorough. That's helpful.
Yeah.
Okay, and then operation and maintenance, that's going up 12%. Salaries are going up. The big one there is the repairs and maintenance. There's 98,824 in this account. General supplies 26,000. Electricity, it was 66 this year. I had to up it to 88,000 for next year, and that could be more by the time we review this in April, because the electricity rates are soaring. So, and then the other thing is the fuel oil.
I was going to say, the bill for here has those same add-ons that your home bill has.
The public benefit?
Yeah,
Oh.
the
Oh,
public
my
benefit.
And that
for-
goes by how much?
Yeah, by how much we pay, about three to 4,000 a year, so that's another,
It's another tax.
it's on that, but when I look at the electric bill, it's been going up every month,
It's utterly repulsive
and
how we
it
get
is,
taxed.
I
like
mean,
that.
it's here, there, everywhere. They
Have
Public-
you ever called Eversource and seen if that is correct, or if that can, I'm assuming we're like a nonprofit?
We're a school.
I have never
Very good.
called, I guess I
Yeah,
could next
I'm
month when
curious if we could either receive some sort of, either not have to pay it or a relief being a nonprofit.
I'll call
Yeah.
next month when I see the
Curious.
bill and stuff. I was amazed that we were getting that
Yeah,
on
I'm
the
like,
bill.
yeah, I think that's.
Well, we've seen some recent increases, but I have an electricity solar panel committee that had, met, and it's a standing committee, and I need to call them in to review all of the prices, and they make recommendations for our electricity and for our solar panel use.
When I see
So-
the bill, I'll try to call, I'll call when I go through them and
Yeah.
I'll
So-
take it, and then I can tell them what they
So
say.
I hope that I can come back at the next meeting with a report of the monthly cost and some reactions and suggestions from that committee to review that. Transportation,
50.
And I do remember a year or two ago, we had gone out and looked at different electric company rates, and we had gone with
yes,
the
we
rate.
did
Do we
did
need to
get
look
the
at that
best,
again?
yeah. We,
They look at
yeah,
that.
we did get the best rate, Val, and so that's something that this committee would also do. We had a reduction and we went out to another company.
Right,
So,
Okay.
that's something that's,
to look at again, maybe.
The
positive.
rates
And
fluctuate between the
yeah,
different
and
companies.
Chris, we have to have another maybe peak meter reading, because that determines, they set your rate based on the most expensive day that you have.
Oh, yeah.
So, we're asking, we would probably ask for a review of that. The transportation, we had talked about that. As you can see, this transportation has gone up 20.64%, and most of that is for the, for the equipment and the rental, and I reviewed that earlier. But if you turn the page, you can see for special ed transportation, we had a budget of $150,796 this year, and that's going down to $56,958 next year. And I will tell you, as I said, the old transportation is an increase of $7,900. Food service, and I don't know what the federal government's gonna do, but it looks like they're talking about taking away some of the contributions to SNAP and and food services. Amy, you're doing a little bit of research on that.
Not until V3. Keep going.
Keep going, okay. But we had to put something in to make sure that we're absorbing some challenges. So in the extracurricular activities, we want to make sure that we're maintaining our program. Community services went up $1,600. That's the contribution to YSBA. And then construction services, I talked about that, $37,500 for the HVAC in the library to replace a 36-year-old unit that is the last part of our HVAC, and we are using about 25,000 in some of the HVAC funds, but it's not going to be enough to replace that unit. And then the other thing is, as part of the asbestos abatement program that closes out our 3-year plan, but we didn't have enough balance to do Section 3. And quite frankly, just based on what's happening, I have to have Brian call like tomorrow to schedule the asbestos people to come in during the summer, just like they did last year, to be able to finish up this project. So, that's the budget. I really request that you approve it as is, because this is a discussion point. I know there's 4 or 5 areas that need review and more clarification, but this is where we are right now with setting in motion the budget development for next year. And as I said, this budget is 118,000 less than it was last month. And we only found out about that opportunity just about 8 days ago. And I have a feeling that we might have another reduction. And if we don't get that information by April, we can have our budget hearing. But I might ask the town if they could defer their town meeting until May or even June, so that we can come in with a more accurate budget. So this is not the defining moment of the budget proposal. You have April where we can make an adjustment, and if we get those numbers in, we can give you a request for a firm recommendation. And then if it needs to go to May, I'll talk to Tracy, and she has been very gracious in making sure adjustments. Now, this is the education budget, and we have to send this into the town, and the Board of Selectmen and acts as the Board of Finance. They could look at this number and they could say, well, no, Adam, this is too much. But that's why I wanted to make sure that I gave you a rundown on page 2 of the introduction. You can see that in 2017, the Board of Ed's share of the total town budget was about 81%. And now this year, it's at 73%. And what is it going to be for next year? That's to be determined. So the Board of Education and the school budget has consistently gone down.
And the town.
And relative to, just some of the draft budgets you've been seeing locally, this is pretty low compared to other budgets, correct?
Oh, the average in the state right now, the last thing that I looked at with about 110 towns was 4.98%. And quite frankly, when I talk to people, they say, what's your budget? And I tell them, and they said, oh, we're at 6.6. I'm at 8.8. How did you get to 2.9, whatever it is? But, this is just something. But again, as I said, just about 10 days, we weren't at that number. We were close to what we asked during the last thing. This is roller coaster ride season, and you're right in the middle of it.
Okay.
I should
Sounds
probably
good.
charge tickets to have a roller coaster
That would
ride.
cost money. We're trying to reduce cost here. Okay.
Yes, but please,
So-
if you could, if you approve this budget, then I just get to send this over as is to the town and they can look at this, and if any citizens want to come in to ask questions, they can go ahead and do that, but you do have time at the next meeting to make an
Is the
adjustment.
next meeting the public meeting? for people
Yes,
to
that's
come
the
in?
public hearing, and as I said, if we get some changes, like if I find something with that insurance thing in the board budget and it's less, I'll put that in, and as we open the meeting, I will explain, that the last meeting, the board approved a budget for 2.74%, but we've recognized some other savings, and
So,
then,
so you need a motion to send this budget to the
Yes.
town for review?
yes, yes,
Okay,
make,
Yeah.
yeah.
okay, you wanna make a motion?
I'll make a
I'll second
motion.
the motion. Alright. Yeah.
Motion, all aye to
And-
send the current vote
That is
motion
just
for review.
It's not to approve.
Correct, it's just for review.
Okay.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Unheard? Motion passes for review.
Thank you very much. We shall see what happens.
Okay.
Adam's gonna get out his red pen and chop some more off.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, it's like, it can be like human bodies that actually like come and go, and that's
I
just
think I just
devastating.
heard the inflation rate this year was 2.8 for the overall year, they're saying, so we're about hitting just what inflation is with this. stuff.
Yeah.
Not
High
too
school
bad.
choices,
Yeah.
item number 3.
Item number 3. Okay, on your other report,
Yes.
V3, high school choices. So last, when we spoke at the last board meeting, we talked about setting up a time to meet. So myself, Sarah, Kate, Jackie Valencourt, Rachel Saho, if anybody else wants to join, we're meeting on March 21st at 2 o'clock, and we're going to review high school choices. So this, Sarah started, shared a document, so we have some information that we're just plugging into it so we can see it on one spreadsheet. We've started the process of talking about, and what we talked about last time, QMC, Killingley VOAG, Ellis. So our up north, we started that,
Eliminating Ellis? Is that what you said?
eliminating Ellis.
Or, yeah, just
Does
reviewing
everything
what it
Our,
is.
This is
our
something.
biggest tech, our most heavily enrolled
No.
tech school?
Norwich
No.
is,
Norwich is now?
Norwich is,
Yeah.
So,
Also offers everything else.
yeah, and so I started a comparison of what
Yeah.
each one offers, so I have that information.
Right.
So we can look and make sure. One of the key points, and when Sarah and I had talked, is that we have no enrollment at Ellis next year for freshmen.
Oh, nobody's going in. So did Ellis switch to a lottery? I had heard a rumor that they had
All-state
switched
schools
to a
did.
lottery.
All gone on.
So how, I guess, how do we not,
I was
nobody
gonna
is
question, I was
interested or
gonna-
nobody was accepted via the lottery?
I think one person was waitlisted, no, 2 people were waitlisted,
Okay, so it's not that they didn't want to go, it's that they
Correct.
did not.
And so
get
we only had
accepted via
2.
the lottery.
yes. And so if somebody drops out, we could have somebody
To
enrolled very
waitlisted or
late.
to apply?
To applied and got waitlisted, and nobody was accepted. So,
They
Which is
not
the,
even applying.
those
the worry
two,
of all
that
of
was
them,
it.
is this worry. Are they gonna, does anybody know if they're gonna maybe
They were
adjust
gonna
this?
finish
Well, there's upheaval at the state and there,
Yeah.
somebody
I think they
was,
just appointed a new
somebody
director.
was at
Yeah,
a
we're
conference
sending, like,
today.
Several students a year, right? We were?
We were, yeah. I mean, and we have to remember, our homerooms are getting smaller. Next year's class is large for us, 30.
Yeah.
But after that, it is a very significant decrease.
And the
So in the end, really, how many are you gonna have per,
And anybody who already started.
we would have to with this
Transport.
weird
So
bridge.
Brosso and Norwich both do a lottery, or Norwich, we've had how many of our students be accepted compared to how many applied?
I'd have to look, yeah, let me look on here.
Doesn't have to be exact, just
yeah.
a ballpark.
I remember seeing that, like, this freshman class of this year, we have 11
That applied.
that are currently there right now. I don't know how many applied versus that.
I think this is
Okay.
also,
I
yeah,
guess what I'm just trying to
yeah.
understand is Norwich allowing significantly more of our students?
No, I
in,
think it's
or is
equal
it-
across.
we don't know that question. There's a lot
Yeah.
of questions that we don't know about
This
this
is new,
lottery
this lottery
system.
is new, this for next year.
About like according to like what your population is, how many seats do they allow versus in
Yeah,
the
I'm
city?
surprised that
And how
Voluntown
many,
doesn't
do
get
they
a
look at
single
that?
seat. That's
It's
very odd.
all unknown, and so people are right now having
And if it's
really
not-
heavy
I-
discourse about
If it
like
works like
this
the magnet
change,
schools
this
do,
switch.
if you already have somebody there.
Right, there was a
you-
sibling
you-
component
the
at one point,
sibling-
remember?
there's
If you
a
had a
sibling
sibling,
component
then you
to
could
it.
go.
Well, here's the other thing, is like, this is free tuition for us as well, so, and we had 2 kids who now we are, have to,
Yeah.
that's a budget
So my
nightmare
other,
in some
right,
regard.
my other concern with Ellis, particularly with Ellis, is up in that like Putnam, Dayville, Killingly area, there's still a decent amount of manufacturing. And so cutting Ellis out is actually doing our students a disservice to basically pipeline into those manufacturing jobs. Because a lot of those
Well, we already-
manufacturers.
I mean, I can't really speak for the quiet corner, but I do know that there's a whole tons of manufacturing this way,
Yeah.
Norwich and.
Yeah,
all.
I'm just saying
but I
that,
can't speak, I
but
don't
like
know.
both ways, right? So like that's,
Yeah.
a lot of those tech schools
I
have
think we're gonna-
pipelines.
I think we're
into-
gonna get in, I think we're
Yeah.
gonna get into that today, like.
So I think, but I mean, obviously, if we can't send any students there, then that doesn't matter.
It doesn't
But
help
it is
us,
something
yeah.
that we should
Yeah,
take into
there's little-
consideration.
And that's what I think we're gonna
Interest.
do with this
That's why
grid.
Little enrollment,
they're
little
looking under
interest,
budget BOAG, because we gotta have a BOAG school.
Yeah,
And nobody's
yeah, no, that
going
makes
to
sense. I
it.
just,
Yeah.
that's disappointing.
Norwich Tech is an amazing place. It's an
Yeah.
incredible facility. It's an honor. I had a chance to see a lot of it. I was pretty shocked at, you just wouldn't expect a tech school, but they've changed a lot.
I think it's very different than what we imagined.
And Grasso's been
Grasso's
updated too.
beautiful.
It's
Grasso
great.
is
So
amazing.
it's wonderful.
But anyway, we're gonna talk about this in
Yeah.
this other
Yeah.
section where it's like, I think those are great questions to
Yeah,
scratch the
I'm-
surface.
but, yeah,
I do wanna
Grasso
see it
is more like
vis-a-vis
Ellis.
what we're giving up, what we're getting, you know, cause those are true elements that like, you know, outside of just what they offer, maybe
Yeah,
the other.
not just transportation.
If there's somebody from the tech schools could come here, and maybe Norwich Tech does have the manufacturing pipeline. And most
Yeah, I would
of them-
assume Grasso has EV.
Grasso.
Is there
Right,
somebody
Grasso would
we
have
could talk
EV, I would
to
think.
Well,
I have been
maybe
in
that
contact with
maybe-
Grasso,
Yeah,
you know, and I talked to the
Yeah.
principal, and one thing we need to recognize too is like, if you could send your kid to Ellis, but we
The
might not
transportation,
transport
right.
them. So like, you
Yeah.
can apply to
Right.
any tech school you
So
want,
you can go wherever.
but these are the ones we
We
transport,
won't be
so.
doing transport that way.
Yeah.
Ellis and Grasso have similar curriculum. Norwich has much more computer stuff and that.
Again, this is what we're gonna talk about in our subcommittee, so we can just, this is a highlight of it, highlight, go highlight, that's it.
So I think,
Yeah, I think we've just, so this group, and we will bring visibility to this, but I think what we're trying to do is also have a way to objectively look at each of the schools and then understand all different types of criteria, so things that we've talked about in the past, so from what programs are offered, what are, if any, limitations on the number of students they can accept, the tuition, transportation considerations, all of these things are linked together when we talk about high schools and transportation issues and number of buses we need and all of these things are linked together and then come back to be able to present that to the board with some recommendations from the subcommittee around high school choices. And I
I'm
think
glad you're on that committee. I think, yeah.
I like spreadsheets and
Is it a Google Doc or is it an Excel spreadsheet?
it's a Google,
Oh,
it's
Right,
But I
oh,
prefer
boo, Team Excel.
And a Google Doc Excel document.
But I just, you know, I've asked Amy and I know she's asked some other folks in the building to help fill things out for us because I think it's sort of, we need all of the information sort of in one place to be able to look at and make decisions. So we will
That's good.
do that. So that's cool.
Okay.
One thing with the budget, that vote was so quick. In the nursing services, the other new position is the certified nursing assistant. And we have budgeted $40,998, and that's a contract that we just got in, and we need to sign this, Lloyd. It's a special ed child that needs help, and it's based on the number of hours that we used. So we projected it would be about $40,000. It could be less, it could be more, but that would require moving some budgets around. But we have to sign that, Lloyd. And this is something, we have OTPT, and these are contracts that we annually sign as part of the special ed. So I wanted to inform you that I want to sign the contract with this company so that Lloyd can start planning and Amy can start planning for services for next year that require a lot of coordination. This is something that I don't want to, delay, because there's some planning activities that have to go into this, this support. And we need this person because we were having paraprofessionals take care of this need, but it requires a certified nursing assistant. Lloyd, is there anything else? So I just want, that's in the budget, but I have to sign this contract to make sure that we're securing these services now.
Okay. It's a secured budgetary item. I think we gotta do that.
Thank you. Sorry for the interruption.
Okay. Can we move along on the old business? Okay, thanks. The superintendent search committee update is just the third reading of the superintendent job description that was included in the packet. I think
Mary Broderick reviewed it.
Yeah.
And had somebody at CABE review it, who made one suggested change to add school finance and policy development. That's the only change in this under the qualifications. But other than that, they said it was very thorough and fun.
I thought that was I think if we're comfortable with it, we just make a motion that we are approving it, the revised as presented.
Make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None heard. Motion passes. Okay, thank you.
Shocked
So we
I
can
had
get-
8 years of teaching experience before you become a superintendent. That's,
I know.
wow.
Yep.
Only 8 years?
You don't know anything in 8
No, you don't know anything. I don't know anything at 23.
Okay, new business. We have some personnel items to review for probably spring and forward looking, sounds like. A couple of motions that we need to approve here for personnel. A motion to approve the volleyball program and appoint Emily Penman as head coach and Andrea Kelly as assistant coach.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's already happened.
Yeah,
I just wrapped the game
Yes,
today,
I
so
tried to
there you
a couple
go.
games, so, okay.
Motion passes, and thank you for what you're doing now. Go Eagles. Motion to appoint Brian Rasco and Chuck Salter as track and field co-coaches.
Motion.
Second.
Getting Mr. Salter back into the track and field game.
You
can't
stay
away.
I know.
I like our new bulletin boards.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None heard. Motion passes. A motion to approve the following as summer custodians. Judah Fedor, Crystal Fitzpatrick, Christine Driscoll, and Lydia Snyder.
Motion.
And also Corinne Peru as a substitute custodian.
Motion.
Any opposed? None heard. Motion passes. Okay. My eyes are crossing looking at all these. Motion to approve Shauna Stefanski as a summer secretary.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None heard. Motion passes. Okay, the motion to approve Kate Stockford and Emily Nelson as the summer special education teachers.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None heard. What, correction?
On the first one, I do put Emily Penman, but it's not, sorry. Okay,
Oh, good, okay.
okay.
Motion passes. Motion to approve Heather Miller as Camp Q paraeducator.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None heard. Motion passes. I'll set here are my motions. Oh, any more? Nope.
We have 2 field trips. Do we?
That one's duplicated.
Okay, a motion to add the executive assistant to.
And
No.
He said that he was going to, but I don't know.
No, I think we're doing that later.
Thanks for
2
job
field trips.
description.
I don't know how I've done them.
No, we're not doing it now, no.
We got 2 field trips.
Oh, wait, no, yeah, that's a
Number
different,
five.
Oh,
that's a different
one?
thing, thank you.
Sorry.
I got the field trips, those are my favorite thing to approve, and I will hold on to it today. I think we're good, okay, so that's all personnel, and then food service update.
All right, last section. On the document that I gave you.
You're such a teacher.
It's always in you.
Yeah.
All right, so I, after the last board meeting, contacted EastCon again. So I was like, I have to wrap my head around, okay, food service, let's find out what we need to know about food service. So I spoke to a woman on the phone, she had gotten back to me, she had given me some basic information. So you can see that in that bulleted list there. She just talked about, they have a consortium, and it's comprised of Sterling, Putnam, Brooklyn, Scotland, Hampton, small schools. And they go into this consortium, and EastCon manages their food service department. I asked her about, she said, do you have your own cooks? I said, yes, I do. I said, I would love to keep them. She said, we would just take them over and they would remain and work for us but in your school.
They work through EastCon?
But they would work through
For
EastCon.
EastCon,
Yeah.
so we have to open the contracts. Are they?
They're not contracted.
They're not in the contract, good.
She talked about how the school is responsible for the equipment, because it is technically our equipment, so services, so refrigerators, stoves and that, like we would have to handle, which we normally do anyway, so anything, cleaning products, etc., that would be part of it. She talked about completing, so one of the pieces that I do part of is I do, our food service director submits claims, I approve the claims, I do the applications for free and reduced lunch, I go through those pieces, so they take all of that over. I did ask her about utilizing something like Aramac, that's like a food service company, if you don't know. She said, the problem is with big places like that, those are great for big schools with a lot of revenue. For smaller places, you still have to meet the quota of lunches met. So if you say, I'm gonna have 150 lunches a day, and let's say for a month you only have 75 to 100 lunches, you still have to pay the difference of what you're trying to guarantee this company. So she had given me information just about that. She didn't say too much. So that's the basics of that. She is going to, I provided her information on our daily averages for lunches and breakfasts. And she and her director are going to review it. They do 5-year terms. So they're working out what 5 years looks like. She said the average cost is what her district's pay now is like anywhere between like 25 and 50,000. So it's like your employees, your everything that you're paying.
So we would no longer employ Tom O'Connor.
When you move to EastCon becomes the director.
We would eliminate that budgetary thing.
Did they give you like an example of like a monthly menu so we could see like the differences in like the food options that they would offer to the kids?
Yeah, no, what we could do also is we could look up some of those schools.
Yeah,
We could
I'm
look up
curious
some
to
of those
know
schools
like
and look.
quality,
Yeah.
like what that would look like.
And so we would still have our same cook, who our kids love, and
Right.
he knows the
Yeah.
food they like. So I'm assuming they would take their input on
Yeah,
what
I'm
our
curious.
kids eat,
Yeah,
they eat the
they
same
wanna
things
sell
every
it.
week. They eat tacos on Tuesdays, we do not vary, that's the
Pizza
thing,
Fridays.
Pizza Friday. But I'm sure that we could probably look at that too, so
Yeah.
once she gets back to me with the actual, what does it look like? You can make a decision on whatever, the board sees fit, based on what we're paying, and then what that would cost,
So
so.
Tom is our biggest employee chunk out of their salaries.
That would be, that's
Yeah,
a separate,
that-
that's an additive
He'll go away, you know,
to look at.
you know, and stuff, so that's,
He knows his business.
huh?
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
Yes,
it
yeah.
sounds like whoever this person is would know too if they,
Yeah, because
that's
we
all
would be
they're doing.
basically, they would manage us all with
Yeah.
other local schools.
and stuff, but,
Amy, I think it, maybe it also seems like one of the other big benefits is that there's a chunk of work that you do right now that they would take over.
yeah,
Right?
they go off.
There is a piece that so they would
Is
just
that- yeah.
assume all those pieces of the program.
Because that's not something we get through Griswold today.
No, you don't get through
They
that.
take over like involvement in the pricing and you would obviously collect the money, but like how is?
Yeah, so I'm
Do they have like a?
maybe they have, like, right now we're using that wonky rev track through Power
Yeah.
School, right?
Yeah.
So maybe they have a different program and it gets deposited through them. Maybe we don't have an account budget for that anymore. Those are questions like
Yeah.
down the, as
Yeah,
you're
sure.
asking.
Yeah.
But she was gonna send me a proposal, and I just said, we're just looking, we just want information,
Or maybe they can even, after
So we
budget
don't really know
season,
anything about
present.
how much this is gonna cost.
She said anywhere between 25 and 50,000 on average, depending on school size,
Okay.
for the whole thing. So we just have to look at like what we pay, what
And
this
what
would be,
we're putting
what is it, and then just
And they would do
decide.
what Tom does, basically manage the food service and put a report on your desk.
Say, here's how many
There you
lunches
go.
and breakfasts,
Yeah.
so.
So you have,
Maybe they could present something like in July.
Yeah, if
or
we get
June
down to
after
that
budget
point where you're very
season.
interested,
Yeah.
I can ask them to.
Once we get past budget season, they
Yeah.
could maybe come do something.
Because I mean, the past budgets are so tiny,
they are.
and then just one jump this year, but is that what we're projecting it's gonna look like
Right.
ongoing, or are we going back to, under 10 grand or under, and then it doesn't make any budgetary sense?
Here's Tom's salary and that, is it still,
Yeah, 'cause
I feel like that's in a different spot.
yeah,
Yeah.
it must be, because that wouldn't be the actual,
No.
10,000 wouldn't be.
No.
Yeah.
It's more than that.
He's, more
Yeah,
than
20 grand is the
that. Yeah, I
non-cert
think he's
wages.
20. I think he's the 20.
But does that come out of the school lunch program budget? And not this budget?
Generally speaking, we used to spend between 107 and 120,000 a year.
Yeah.
And that was supplemented by some school funds, but then we had collections, we had the reimbursement for free and reduced lunch, and we also had money saved by the commodities. So putting that all together, I'm not sure what it would be, but the number that I put in the budget was just a projection from what I knew from, the last time. And as we move along, we can monitor that, but I had to make sure that we had enough so that we wouldn't have to take money out of another account,
So they must be, do we pay their salaries out of the school lunch program?
We pay
Separate
them-
from this
We
budget?
pay their salaries, well, with this one here, in the budget proposal, we pay for the health benefits, but it's basically from the money that we earn in the school lunch program. But the thing is that there hasn't been enough money coming in, so this year, we're in deficit on the school lunch program because we thought that we would, they would continue with some of the services. And just looking at the location report, food services, I'm in deficit $24,668 this year. And so that means that I've had to, wind up moving money from other accounts that will reconcile at the end of the year. But I had no choice because we have to run the program. So that's why you're seeing that
Yeah.
big budget
We've been having
increase.
So what is Tom's salary then?
Tom's salary, I believe that comes from the collections, but we've been supplementing things.
Yeah,
Tom's
we've been
salary is
pulling out.
18,000.
We're not
Yeah.
being reimbursed for the breakfast anymore?
No,
I'm
not free,
sorry.
not free breakfast anymore.
Why don't we just stop it?
Oh,
And let parents parent their children instead of having the taxpayers do it.
Yeah, we're not getting the
Novel idea.
reimbursements that we used to,
They're
you
not
know.
giving us any.
No, they have to buy, no, they have to buy.
They
Paid
all
kids have to buy.
There's no
Free and reduced
breakfast.
kids still get theirs, and we get the money for that.
Breakfast.
Yeah, no, they still have to buy breakfast
We're
now.
not just giving it away out of our budget.
Not the
No,
ones
no.
that don't
Okay.
have free and reduced, don't.
I mean, that was great when we
Yeah.
got that reimbursement, that was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
well,
was
we got
nice.
reimbursement for everybody.
The big thing is participation. When we had complete free and, you know, free lunch and breakfast, we served 44,000 meals. And then when that back to, you know, reduced lunch and it wasn't free anymore, we served 24,000 meals. So that was the big change.
You have
And
that system.
I will tell you this, that if a company's coming in and they're pretty good at, you know, promoting the lunch program. One year we had an intern from Yukon come down and she worked miracles greeting the kids in the morning, and our breakfast numbers like increased by 1,000%. So there are ways to do incentives with that, but it does take a little bit of time to.
Well, you got my kid, believe me.
And
He's
when
like,
my-
I can just get, I can get breakfast at school, Mom. I'm like, since when? I'm like, it's not free.
25.
It's not free, and so it's coming out of your magic like
Honey
green
bun.
card at school, so. And it's, I know what's in that breakfast.
But it
Your
depends on the
home
teacher
breakfast,
too. When my Creole had second grade, the entire second grade, whether they had to buy it or not, took breakfast. Cause he let them set up in the classroom and eat it. You know, some teachers don't let them eat in the classroom, whatever, you know, but it kind of depends if you got somebody going rah rah, let's all eat breakfast
Well, it's
together.
kid, you know, it is expensive,
Yeah, it is.
$2.25 a day if
Yeah.
you're paying.
If you're paying for a
And then
couple of
next thing you
kids.
know, you have a $50 bill, cause your
Yeah.
kid's been getting breakfast every day, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
you-
Spot on.
And then if they're buying.
And then I
lunch,
can't do it, I
Right.
do one online and one in paper, so I'm like, which one? I just did that. No, I did that one online.
Now you can pay all online, so don't worry.
Yeah.
It's
So
okay.
that's just the basics, and one of the important points that she did bring up is we're not eligible for this certain community provision because we do not have enough free and reduced students. However, going into a consortium, the way she explained it was that our percentage gets blended with these other percentages.
And then we become enough.
I'm not sure, but that's what she alluded to. So she said, you know, she tries to work those numbers together as one group. Because these are all small
So
schools.
maybe for buying food and stuff like that.
I think you
or
get
purchasing.
something or a discount or however that works. You know?
So it's in their benefit to get more schools, just to be able
Yeah.
to.
More
to-
small
More
schools.
buying power.
More
Yeah.
buying power, I think that
And
maybe
stuff.
that's what it means.
Okay.
But
Thank you
yes,
for looking into it.
Tom's salary is a major component, but we had to go to that when we didn't have somebody. They didn't even know there was a consortium they could buy from who was running the kitchen before we got Tom. They were just from here.
Right, but I mean, if you
Where
add
would-
Tom's salary into what
Yeah.
we're putting into food service for the
Yeah.
budget, that's
If-
$48,000. If
Well,
you're
no,
talking
that's
between
what-
25 and 50.
This is what,
And it's 48,000 currently, there's gonna be some savings.
well, this is what we're putting in this year because we're not getting the same amount of
So we'll have
We
to
people.
pay
Yeah.
East Con with the same collections and everything that we're paying Tom with, so it'd kind of
must
be a
work like
wash.
that. Yeah,
We
it's
just
gotta
work.
be.
And we may be a
So we
wash.
wouldn't see much difference.
Well, we are.
Hopefully the
because-
kids would be happy, you know?
Yeah.
Because we're putting 40 grand into it, right? So
Right now
40
we are.
plus the
We're
salary.
doing that this year
And
because
they're quoting us 25 to 50.
before
Ooh,
this,
that's-
we only had to do 6 or 7. You're supposed to run your cafeteria program revenue neutral, that it's not costing you money, you're not making money. That's what it's supposed to be. And right now, we're losing money. In previous years, we were pretty well breaking even, around 6, 4, 5 grand.
Yeah, we've always done well.
Yeah, it's been all right.
And they do
But
make you spend that down
Yeah.
at the end of the year. They
Yeah.
force you to buy
If you
equipment
got
and
you
then
gotta buy
draw
stuff.
that down.
If you-
Steak and lobster for lunch.
Yeah.
Shrimp, everybody.
Yeah, but it's gotta be
Sushi, we're learning about
revenue
international
neutral. You
foods
gotta
this
get
week.
rid of the money or they'll take
Okay.
it back.
All right, guys, okay, so we're moving along here. Thank you for the update there. The healthy food certification, speaking of all these great food items, making me hungry.
Notice that time to eat before coming.
Okay, so these are the standard crazy long motions, so pardon me for the words I have to say. But we need a motion for the healthy food option pursuant to CGS section 10-2155F. Voluntown Board of Education votes yes to participate in the healthy food option and certify that all food items offered for sale to students in the school under its jurisdiction and not exempted from the Connecticut nutrition standard published by the Connecticut State Department of Education will comply with the Connecticut nutrition standards during the period of July 1, 2025 through June 30th, 2026. The certification shall include all food offered for sale to students separately from reimbursable meals at all times and from all sources, including but not limited to school stores, vending machines, school cafeterias, culinary programs, and any fundraising activities on school premises sponsored by the school or non-school organizations and groups.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None heard. Motion passes to vote yes. And then there's one more.
You go, Kate.
You elected me for this very special job. So the motion to make the food and beverage exemptions combined into one motion. The Voluntown Board of Education votes yes and will allow for the sale to students of food items that do not meet the Connecticut nutrition standards and beverages not listed in section 10-221Q of the Connecticut General Statutes, provided that the following conditions are met. Number one, the sale is in connection with an event occurring after the end of regular school day or on the weekend. Number two, the sale is at the location of the event. And three, the food and beverage items are not sold from a vending machine or school store. An event is an occurrence that involves more than just a regularly scheduled practice, meeting, or extracurricular activity. For example, soccer games, school plays, and interscholastic debates are events, but soccer practices, play, rehearsals, and debate team meetings are not. Note that the regular school day in the period from midnight before to 30 minutes after the end of the official school day. Location means where the event is being held and must be the same place as the food and beverage sales.
Motion.
In favor?
Aye.
And you just made us eligible for reimbursement of 10 cents per meal, and it's been 10 cents for the last, I think, 18 years.
I can remember.
Of course.
So, just looking to put it in perspective for the support, but this is a requirement of the school lunch program.
Okay. Item number 4, library HVAC heat recovery unit replacement RFP.
Yes, all you need to do is approve issuing the RFP for the HVAC. I didn't copy it out for you, but the building committee had worked on that, and then Darlena and Brian, have edited it, and we're ready to publish it. So you've approved, issuing the HVAC. If you would like a copy, we could send it to you, but it's going to be posted March 31st as part of the town procurement.
We have a copy of
And
that.
Dee Dee sent us one too on that.
I don't have a copy. Did you?
It's in the packet.
It's in our packet.
We put it, we did, that's right, I'm sorry. Thank you, Sarah.
So you just need a motion.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any
I
opposed?
didn't realize, I
Unheard.
forgot about that.
Approved library HVAC replacement RFP. Thank you. Okay, my favorite. Here we go, field trips. Finally, at number 5, field trip requests. May we please have a motion to approve the Southwick Zoo field trip in Southwick, Massachusetts?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. None are heard for nays. I will assure you that, and the motion passes.
If there are any nays, they shall hang their head in shame.
I know. A motion to approve the YSB-sponsored Alley Cats bowling field trip in Westerly, Rhode Island.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
None, no nays. Motion passes. Okay, and then final to approve the Roger Williams Zoo field trip in Providence, Rhode Island.
Motion.
Second.
Oh, don't say it with such vigor. I mean, this is exciting times for these
It is.
kindergarten. Who's
It's
going?
good.
Hold them back.
They're all fun, all very fun.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any Opposed, none heard, motion passes.
Put some of these in between transportation and budget, all of the cookies, chips.
Okay, we have number 6, we're not done yet. The town treasurer's signature authorization for school lunch checks.
Motion?
Yeah, what is it? It's the town treasurer signature?
Yeah, the motion,
I thought she's,
the town treasurer, motion to authorize the town treasurer to sign the old school lunch checks.
So those are like the
It's a housekeeping issue.
For like $8.33.
oh, yeah, we talked about this
he
before.
came in, yeah, and he's
Yeah, we
like,
talked
there's
about
like
that.
a lot of, like,
Yeah.
Those
People
people
that-
like 23
Yeah, that they
cents or
owe-
something.
Right, they owe reimbursement. Can they just,
reimbursements to old people's
Yeah,
accounts.
second.
Not old people, but old
Yeah.
students' accounts.
can they just keep the money?
All
They're
right.
supposed to be taking the money and putting it towards
Or something.
paying
Yeah.
off the unpaid
Yes,
students.
yes,
bills.
perfect.
Yes.
That was supposed to be added to the.
Okay.
Yeah, do we have a motion?
Yes, we did. Second.
Third.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Is there an executive session or are we?
You do have an executive session?
Of course.
Of course we do.
Of course.
So
Is that everything?
I think we covered everything on the agenda item. The next regular board meeting is Thursday, April 10th, so a little bit earlier in the month.
We'll be here
One of
Tuesday.
the meetings, we're here
Tuesday.
Tuesday, we're here.
I know, yep.
Next
So,
Tuesday,
but-
right?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. So there is no plow bids, I don't even know. Budgets, we know everything else, but just the date, save the date for next Thursday,
Thank you.
just for the regular board meeting.
Yeah.
Lots to work on the superintendent.
Sorry, I should have asked
So
you to
Tuesday is
leave
the
earlier,
superintendent
Roy.
meeting thing, correct?
Yeah, Tuesday we have.
Tuesday, yeah.
So then, do we have, a motion to invite the superintendent into executive session
Motion.
for purposes of discussing preparation, negotiation of the next non-cert contract?
Thanks,
and
Amy, thanks, Lloyd.
Good night.
The, potentially the Board of Ed for self-evaluations. Thank you, Amy.
Motion.
Me too.
Okay,
I think Kathy seconded.
so, yeah,
Second,
Chica,
yeah.
all in favor, aye.
Second and Nathan.
Motion passes, okay, so